All right, we're live. That way we're not late.
Hey, I'm coming. There's Kitty.
So for today, I've just got the teams up, and we'll just go through who gets acquired when.
I'm coming.
So Hecka's here.
Oh, I haven't seen Hecka in forever.
And Adam West.
I talked to Adam, like 2 weeks ago.
I'm talking to people behind my back again.
Behind you.
Tell ya, some people's kids.
To work.
It's nice of Hecka to stay up late for us.
Okay. I did tell my mom. I should probably remind her, because when I forget, then I get in trouble. Okay, hold on. I got to message my mom.
Man.
Just a moment. Don't mind me.
Good evening to the UK. She's right there.
Oh, you're
She's
on
right
here?
there.
Yay. See, I don't have to message you.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I got...
Man, I tell you.
I just, too late. I already messaged your mom. Because then I forget, and then I feel bad.
Good job.
Okay. Hello. Ah, my eyes are watering already.
Oh, well, you're that close to me. You know, that does happen.
Would you be happy or confused if the Canucks got to Foley back?
I would have been happy, but since he's in Winnipeg, it's not going to happen. So I'm glad the Jets picked him up. I think he'll do well there. I don't think the Canucks need to go all in. I don't think they should. I think the fact they didn't get Gensel and they didn't get to Foley might end up being better for the long-term picture, but that's me.
Did the Penguins get enough for Gensel?
I think they did well. Obviously, there's prospects, draft picks involved. It depends on how they pan out. And if Ponomarev becomes a good NHL player, then yeah, it's a pretty good trade. Either way, the Penguins got it done. Apparently, the deal they got from Carolina was the best one that was offered.
You're my favorite daughter, and Shannon's my favorite son-in-law. Ah, high praise indeed.
It is high praise. A little bit.
So Shannon, nothing but minor league and minor cap dump trades today.
Yep. And I had figured that this was going to be a trade deadline where there wasn't as many big names that were on the move or potentially on the move. So I don't think it's a big deal.
Hecka says it's only 8 p.m., so that's not too bad.
That's still late for him, isn't it?
Why are the Canucks sleeping?
Because I think the asking prices for some of these players, like for Gensel, the Canucks would have had to give a lot. Toffoli, maybe Toffoli didn't want to come back. Maybe Toffoli didn't want to come back to Vancouver. Maybe he'd rather be in Winnipeg than Vancouver. We'll find out when all this is done.
Do you think it's only a matter of time before the Isles pass the Wings or Flyers? Seems like something clicked under Roy. Raw. I can't ever guess who it is.
I think Tampa's the one that's got to worry. I think Tampa's the one that looks like they're going to fall out. Detroit and Philly are playing well. Philadelphia just won in Florida last night. And Detroit, despite their loss against Colorado the other night, they won 6 out of 9 before that. It's Tampa that I think could fall beneath the Islanders.
So the Caps are going to sell, right?
Somewhat. I mean, a part of the reason it's going to be a quieter deadline is because the players that are available from the teams that are actually selling are not like big name players. You're not going to get a huge return for them. So, yeah.
Speaking of teams that need to worry, how about the Golden Knights?
Oh, Vegas is in trouble. Vegas is in absolute trouble. They really are. Red Wings today required Radim Šimić and New Jersey's 2024 7th-round draft pick in exchange for Klim Kostin. So Kostin goes to San Jose. I'm surprised with that one, actually. A little bit. But Radim Šimić goes to New Jersey. I guess that's an upgrade on the blue line.
Long-time member here since you had 1,500 subscribers. Love your channel. Do you think Pittsburgh makes another move? How long do you think the rebuild will take? My phone.
Well, it's going to be a retool, not a rebuild with Pittsburgh. I think the plan is to rearm for next season or the season after because Crosby and the others aren't getting any younger. So
it's just kids. Both of the boys are messaging me over and over and over. I was like, why is my phone binging like crazy? Boys.
Don't they know that we're doing
children
live stream?
I don't think they care. That's Gabriel. I'm going to move my phone over here, so I hope nobody's messaging me telling me I'm missing super chats. Because my boys are both texting me a ton right now. Oh, was hoping for a live stream. Nice.
There you go. And all I'm doing, I don't have the TV on. I just have it so that anytime Friedman, Sarah Valley, or LeBron tweet, then I get a notification on my phone.
Gabriel is in school. That does not stop him from texting me, though.
This is true.
Or no, it's not lunch yet. I think he's between classes right now, though.
Maybe. Need to rat him out. Need to call the school. Just lay it the smack.
The school likes him.
Lay the smack down.
Who do your boys support in the NHL? Malachi likes the Golden Knights. He now also likes the Canucks since he got to play with the Abbotsford Canucks in Special Olympics. So he does really like the Canucks now, where he used to only like the Golden Knights. Gabriel likes the Oilers and the Hurricanes. And then Adelaide likes the Leafs and the Jets. And all of them. She also really likes the Ducks now. Since we saw the Ducks, she really likes the Ducks now because Ducks. She thought that was like the best game ever.
Well, yeah.
All of your cats got traded to Toronto. I don't know that would work very well.
Bear wouldn't accept a trade.
No,
she has a no trade clause. Shadow has a no movement clause. So does Pixel. Pixel just doesn't move a lot of the time. So.
Let's see. If the Blues do nothing today, should Doug Armstrong's seat start getting very warm? Love your work. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. It really depends on, clearly the market right now seems to be a market for the buyers. I've been surprised at how low the cost has been on a lot. Maybe Armstrong just looks at at what teams are offering and says it's not worth it. We might as well hold on to the players. So, and then at the end of the season, we'll see if his seat's warm or not.
What's your advice on keeping cats from begging for food and snacks? Can't eat my Pringles in peace anymore.
Oh, yeah. Bears like that with pizza.
She'll just decide, I need that right now.
What was it the other day? You were eating something and she decided, I want that.
It was
she
not
just grabbed it.
Cat food.
No. She'll just come over and just grab the food right out of your hand.
It was not.
Wasn't dairy either. Normally she loves dairy.
No. We're not the people to ask for how to get
Buffalo
your cats
have too many left-handed defensemen. What are your feelings about Oposo to the Cats? He wanted to go to Florida. The team was willing to help him out. Buffalo was, because he's been such a good captain for them. I think that's a really solid addition for Florida. He's had a good year. He had a good year last year as well. He's a veteran. He's obviously a leader. I can't see how he would hurt Florida.
Vetrano to the Isles, excuse me, to the Isles makes a lot of sense. The fact that he hasn't been traded yet, there hasn't been much talk around his name, screams Lou.
He's Vetrano. The buzz has been that maybe Vancouver's going to go for Vetrano. At least that's been the speculation. With the number of top six forwards off the board, Vetrano kind of becomes likely the best one that's available. I'd love to see him in Vancouver. I don't know if Vetrano's still going to be a Duck when we hit noon hour.
Would love to see Buchnevich in Detroit. Would Berggren, second round pick, and another mid-tier prospect do it?
See, and then the Blues are willing to retain money on that. I don't know if that would be enough to convince them to move Buchnevich. But Buchnevich is a fantastic forward. Berggren's pretty close to ready. Might be it's close. I don't know that would be enough.
My cat loves Sour Patch Kids. Animals are weird.
Yep.
It is so bizarre what the cats decide they like, what the rabbits decide they like. Cat's weird. There's a rumor that THG is trading Yvonne for a player to be named later.
Probably just future considerations.
Sorry, my throat's just.
What's
awful.
Calgary doing today for a goalie in Ottawa? Or do they? Well, Ottawa's just in full on sell. Calgary, I don't think they're doing anything. I've seen people talking about Markstrom. Markstrom's not going anywhere. I would be shocked if Markstrom got moved because Calgary's back in the hunt. You can't move Markstrom.
Cheers from Canes fan. I know you don't have favorites when it comes to your kids, but I'm not their parent. Gabriel wins my vote. Appreciate you all. Oh,
there
goodness. You go. If the Pens don't make it to the playoffs and have a bad start next season, is Mike Sullivan in the hot seat?
He may be in the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs this year. Kyle Dubas may very well want to bring in somebody that he's comfortable with in the offseason. So it's possible that we see a change behind the bench going into next season. But yeah, something's going to change in Pittsburgh if things don't turn around.
I want to apologize. First thing last year, I posted some inappropriate names of Tool songs. I remember that. I had to unban or unblock it. Also, do you think Red Wings will get a goalie?
I think the Red Wings are comfortable with Alex Lyon. I think the asking price for the goaltenders has been high. We'll see when 11 o'clock rolls around, and that's the time we find out how the waiver wire went. We'll see if anybody picked up Ronta on waivers, because the goalie market's been pretty cold.
What human food is good for cats? I don't feed cats human food, but Shannon does.
Oh yeah,
Shannon will feed the pets anything.
Yeah, what would you like?
I don't do human food for animals. I don't.
Bear likes people food.
Well, maybe like a piece of turkey when we have turkey, but that's it. That's all the human food I do. Do you think Tree Living doesn't eat treats today?
I think he'll try. Toronto's in an interesting position that I don't think they need the major surgery that some people seem to think they do. I think that adding Edmondson was a solid move. I know people may not like the price for it. I think Labushkin was one that made sense too. Minor deal maybe, but there's really nothing major out there. I've been saying this week, if your team needs major changes in order to contend for a cup, then this is not the trade deadline where those changes are gonna occur.
Where's Cinnabon? Where is Cinnabon?
Right here.
Not at our feet right this second. She's apparently busy. Oh, there she's.
I know.
Let me see. So right in front of us, there's a window and a cat tree and like a little box thing, and she really likes her little box because she can tear it apart.
There's Cinnabon.
Hi.
There's a rabbit. Take that, TSN and Sportsnet. You guys don't have rabbits to show people, do they? No.
And there are people posting weird things that their cats eat. I saw French fries. I saw somebody said.
Oh, she eats French fries.
Cinnabon does eat.
Cinnabon eats French fries, especially if they're those crunchy Mojo types.
She's a hoppy cat. That's what she is. Somebody was saying that their cat likes anything salty.
Oh, Parker Kelly has a hearing today for an illegal check to the head on Andreas Englund. All right, so Parker Kelly's getting suspended for that. Interesting.
Are the Isles and Rangers first round realistic? Who wins?
The Islanders would have to jump. Well, no, they could if the Rangers do finish first in the East. There's the possibility. In that matchup, I like the Rangers. I like the Rangers in that series.
Do you think we see Wallstrom swapped with another young promising player in need of a fresh start? I think he still has potential. I was
big on Wallstrom for years. At this point, I don't know. He could get swapped. We've seen some of those deals like Nylander for Bemstrom. It's possible, but at this point, I don't know how much market value he has.
What a weird cat. Have you guys tried the Nathan's Footlong Dirty Dog hot dogs from Abbey Connect Games? I don't eat hot dogs, so no.
I don't think I've had that one.
I don't
think I have.
So my kids have had it. My boys have thought they're pretty good, but I don't eat hot dogs, so.
No, she's not a big hot dog fan.
How are Pickles' kids doing to cope with his passing? Rabbits don't have that same kind of connection that like cats and dogs do.
I tried to show Licorice, like Licorice and Pickle were the only males. I tried to show Licorice today that he can go into the same area that Pickle had been in because they're very territorial with each other. He still ran out. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. He's like, nope, this isn't my area, and he ran off.
I had a rabbit that loved the tiny marshmallows. Shannon gives the rabbit so many inappropriate foods. If anyone needs a great pet, go rabbit. Watch your electrical cords. True.
Yeah, all the cords I have in here that are down are wrapped. They're all wrapped.
I go through the house every once in a while. Does Vancouver win a round with the current roster?
I think so. I don't see any reason why they can't. Obviously, it's going to depend on who that first round matchup's with. They should be able to hold first in the division. And so it depends who they draw, but they should be able to win a round.
Who doesn't like mystery meat? Me. I don't. If it's Any kind of chopped up, pressed into a shape meat, I'm not doing it.
I've had meat before that I wasn't told what it was before I ate it.
Not doing it. I don't.
It was elk. That was the time I had elk. It was great. Well, it looked like roast beef.
Right.
So I was like, "Can I have some?" And he said, "You don't know what it is." And I said, "Well, I'll try it." And it was elk, and it was delicious.
I'm not sure how I feel about Okposo on the move to Florida. Thought they may go after a defenseman. Was there any retention from Buffalo on that deal?
I didn't see anything about salary retention on that one. It doesn't mean Florida's done. It doesn't mean they can't move another player out in order to make room, money-wise. I mean, Florida could probably use a defenseman. Maybe they thought the prices were too high. The price for Okposo was actually really decent.
Rabbits are very territorial. There's a lot of things that people don't know about rabbits.
I had to
very
go up last week and break up a fight.
They can fight pretty viciously. Yeah. You can't just introduce another rabbit to a fluffle. Adelaide suggested us getting a bunny for Gabriel's birthday next week, and I was like, you can't just add a rabbit. No, I already read that one.
Goodbye.
I was told I missed a super chat.
Did you? Oh, there it is.
For the love of God, what should the Blues do to fix this mess?
No trade clause.
Is it?
Yeah.
They are in.
Yeah, there's a lot of no trade clauses.
No trade clauses. Also, they keep Bannister?
I don't know if you keep Bannister. The Blues haven't really turned it around that much under Drew Bannister, so we'll see what Armstrong does. And again, if Armstrong's sticking around past this season as well, recent results would tell you the Blues unlikely to make the playoffs. So yeah, I don't know how you necessarily fix that either.
Can you discuss the Toffoli trade and why do the Devils retain 50%?
You retain 50% so that the Jets have enough cap space to make it work. And it still opens up the potential for the Jets to make other moves should they decide to. So the retention is something that I've talked about before. I don't see it as being any different than any of the other things people complain about with cap circumvention. It definitely looks like cap circumvention, but again, the league doesn't seem to care. The owners don't seem to care. So I don't let it bother me too much.
I see somebody asked what we wrap our cords in. We actually have cord protector. Like I have a bunch at my feet, but I can't grab it. It's like a cord protector. It's this plastic stuff that the buns can't easily chew through, and it just goes over them. And so there's certain cords that you can't have off the floor all the way, like our little space heaters. And so we put that on there if we can't have it not on the floor. But most of the cords in our house we're able to just not have on the floor.
Does Tampa trade for Chychrun wants the return? Ottawa would want a really good return for Chychrun. Chychrun's a good defenseman. He's not had a great year. He's had a very up and down season. I think Chychrun would be a fantastic addition for Tampa if they were able to make it work. I'm just not sure that financially they can. And again, Ottawa, I think, would be looking for a home run there. Steve Staios doesn't want to get taken for a ride his first trade deadline.
Somebody gifted a bunch of memberships.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yvonne, can you explain your Jets fandom?
Explain.
I have always chose the hockey team that I am cheering for based off of goalie helmets. When I was little, my grandma would take me to a hockey game, and I frequently wouldn't know anything about the teams, wouldn't know anything about the players. So I would pick who I was cheering for based on the goalie's helmet, because what better way to pick a team? So that's how I pick favorite teams. And then I really liked their jerseys. So ta-da, Jets. That's it. Same with the Wild. I really liked that red jersey. So that's it. Nothing super exciting. Jets, I like the goalie helmet, and then I like the jerseys, and Wild, I like the jersey. The end. Do you think the Rangers acquire a top line right winger like Vetrano, or do you think they go into the playoffs as is?
Like I said, Vetrano's out there. The Rangers could be in the mix there. I don't think they need a lot. I think there's a number of teams right now that I don't think need a lot. I would put Vancouver in that category. I would put the Rangers in that category. The Canes I would have put in that category before they added the players they did. I think Carolina's done well for themselves. I think Florida has too. But yeah, the Rangers, as they're built currently, I think they're good enough to win it.
It's jumping. Does Boston make any more moves, or was Pat Maroon trade the only one?
Cam Neely's been pretty vocal about how frustrating it is right now. He wants to make a lot of moves. They just don't have the cap space. So he basically a week ago was making it pretty clear when he was talking to the media that they wouldn't be able to do everything they wanted to do. I think Boston's likely working the phones right now trying to figure it out, but yeah, it's not that easy.
Do the Leafs do anything?
The additions they've made, plus Timmins is coming back. I don't think Giordano's going to be out for much longer. I think Giordano's still been hurt. I know he didn't play their last game, but the reality is that it's tough to make trades. And I think Tanev's the one they really wanted. It just didn't happen. They were probably looking at Hannafin too, but they wouldn't have been able to make that work. I wouldn't think from a cap perspective.
Did you get a new cat? No. We're good on cats.
No.
We have enough.
No new animals coming into this house for a while.
We're good. No, I don't have enough time to have more animals.
Nope.
How did your love of the Bruins and the Canucks evolve into the War of 1812?
Well, evolved from more than anything else. But that was the whole George Washington thing with the fake maps back in 1812. It was the Romans' fault, really, because since our calendars had been stolen, that's why the War of 1812 took 6 years with the maps. It made everything very, very confusing.
Now we know why she likes Shannon. It's because she likes the cool jerseys. Shannon didn't have very many jerseys when we met.
No.
He had a very, very small... He didn't even have all the teams.
Nope.
I got his first jersey for a couple of teams.
For Minnesota and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
You did.
Do opposing teams treat young players different when it comes to post-whistle scrums? Would they treat Johnson different than Pavelski, for example?
I think some of the younger players get hit a little bit harder in those scrums than some of the veterans, just to let them know, hey, you're a kid. Knock it off. Get away from our goaltender. I think they're more likely to ragdoll a kid away from their goaltender than they are a veteran like Pavelski. There's a respect level that's not there when it comes to the kids. And then if your name's Tkachuk, you're just in the middle of every single scrum in every game because that's what happens. Tkachuks are in the middle of all of them. I need to have a Tkachuk counter is what I need.
Do you think Middlestad will shine in Colorado?
I think Middlestad's had a really good year in Buffalo. I think that as long as he maintains that in Colorado, people are going to be really happy. Similarly to how when Mark Stone went from Ottawa to Vegas, he didn't become a better player. He was just in a more visible location.
I'm disappointed in the reaction from fans for the Jake trade. He was leaving during the summer. Pittsburgh getting anything back is a win in itself.
I think Pittsburgh did all right. I do. I think that they didn't trade that much in terms of scoring and going from Gensel to Bunting. And then with all the other pieces they got back, I think they did well. I think the Canes win the trade because Gensel's the best player in it.
Sending a few cats to the P.O. box. Love you guys.
I don't know if that would work very well.
Somebody was asking about how many animals we have. We have 5 cats, 5 rabbits, and 2 guinea pigs.
Yep.
And 3 children and a Shannon.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
Right.
What?
Hey guys, can't wait for meetups this summer.
Me neither. I've been trying to figure out when I'll start having them again. So
he usually tries to start once this playoffs if there's a day with no games that works.
What is your deal? No. I'm talking to the internet. I don't need to talk to you right now.
She knows when his live streams compared to a regular video.
Sorry about that. I had to have a conversation.
She's kind of insistent.
With the cat. Dobson or Bouchard? I'd take Dobson.
My cat heard bear.
Bouchard has more like the big wicked slap shot.
Do you need that?
But I would take Dobson over Bouchard as the all-around defenseman right now. Dobson's very underrated right now in the National Hockey League. Is that what you wanted?
Of course it is.
That's all you were asking
being ignored?
for? That's it?
Were you ignored?
Seriously?
Poor kitty. She wants second breakfast. Oh my gosh, that'd be Azrael all day. Breakfast, because breakfast is a can of wet food.
So I think Dowd or Pacioretty moves. Well, Dowd's hurt. So that'd make it difficult to move him. Pacioretty, I don't think so. I think that, I mean, they could try, but Pacioretty has not been himself. He's not scoring the goals that he usually does. I don't know if there's much market for Pacioretty right now, but we'll see.
Do you think? Oh, you just read that one.
Yep.
Hey, THG, who do you see winning the inaugural THG Cup?
Oh, we were going to
They're
go
in
through
the-
that too.
They're in the playoffs.
It is in
right
the
now.
playoffs, so
They've
hopefully
been in the
those
playoffs
playoffs
for
go
like
well.
a week now.
Yeah.
A week.
Yeah.
Been watching.
Just
some of that
everybody
on
be
there.
nice in the THG playoffs because it's got my name on it and everything. So everybody be nice to each other.
Bear is not a spoiled kitty. Are you spoiled?
Not at all.
No.
Not in the slightest.
She's
What?
good. This is what she would like to do all day.
I know. I love you too, sweetie. Good kitty.
Does she meow like that at 3 a.m. like my cat? No, because we're in bed. That's her favorite.
No, then she's right here.
Yes, true.
She's right here and she's there all night. And now I've got the problem that Pixel and Shadow sleep behind me. So like I barely have any bed left now because we have sometimes all 5 cats are on our bed.
Maple doesn't usually sleep on our bed, though she was last night.
Yeah. And we had all 5 cats last night. It was great.
Thoughts
really helps to sleep.
Yeah. Thoughts on Kuzi and Orlov reunited in Raleigh.
I will be interested to see if Kuznetsov gets his game back in Carolina. He definitely needed the move. He wanted the move. He's wanted that move for years. So now it's up to him to show that with the trade, he's going to start producing again. I think he's still got the skill. Maybe this will help.
Oh, what bread type for a Timmy's breakfast sandwich? I don't eat eggs, so
No,
I don't.
No, I don't do.
We do
eggs
sometimes.
either.
We'll have the sausage biscuit, but no to eggs. So
Well, Kent Hughes get a
There you
first
go.
for David Savard.
That was
I don't
graceful.
think so. I don't think Savard would draw first. I don't think the market. I think maybe a second or a third. And Kent Hughes has been quite vocal that he's not going to drop his asking price. So we'll see.
Penguins to clean house, Crosby to Colorado, Carlson to Edmonton, Malkin to Detroit. Bet on it.
Maybe eventually. Definitely not today, though.
Can you imagine?
Oh, the
Oh,
internet.
somebody else, right? Somebody else has a cat named Bear. Do your cats stalk the rabbits or, look them in a strange way? No, the rabbits would win. The rabbits would win. If you've ever seen rabbits and cats, rabbits win.
Half the time, Bear goes over to drink water, and Cinnabon will go over and just smack her and put her out of it.
Go away.
She just jumps up with her feet. She just hits them, and they've got long claws. So it tells the cats, all right, I'm out of here.
Rabbits are way stronger, even though the rabbits are maybe half the size or a third of the size, depending on the cat.
But you get kicked by a rabbit.
The rabbits would win.
There was the one time Jet kicked you and kind of knocked the wind out of you. You were holding her?
Oh, on my
She pulled
stomach,
off
yeah.
And she kicked you. She hauled off and kicked you. Put me down.
Yep, that's enough. Okay. The sausage biscuits are good. Agreed.
Yep.
Don't do many breakfast things at restaurants. Any restaurant.
It's interesting. Since we started doing the live stream, outside of the Costin trade, it's been quiet.
Can the Canucks be as good next year?
That's a really good question. They had a fantastic first half of the season. They've had some good games recently, but I think they overachieved a bit. I think the expectation level is going to be pretty high. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this again next year. That's why I'm just enjoying this year for what it is and for what's happening, because I don't know if they can do it again next year.
Show more bunnies. If Licorice comes over here, we'll pick him up, but he's probably over by his food or in the box. I don't know where he is right now. Oh, he's sleeping. Licorice is sleeping over there.
Yeah.
And
Bunny
the cats do get along really well. Bear really likes hanging out with Cinnabon and Licorice. They lay together on the floor right behind Shannon.
That was one of the sad things too, was that Bear used to actually play with Pickle. Pickle would actually play with her.
Yeah. Do you think a team praying Rasmus Anderson?
I don't think so. I haven't heard his name out there at all. I don't see any reason why the Flames would look to move him or why he'd want out. He's one of their better defensemen.
For Yvonne, happy International Women's Day. Thank you. I know Shannon doesn't have time to follow the PWHL, but have you? I'd love to watch you do a review video teach GSAL. I haven't really, because most nights when there are games, I am busy driving children places. That's one thing with having 3 kids, is I am always driving. So much of my life is, I swear, I'm a free taxi for my children. And the very few nights that I am at home, I am usually watching NHL. Or not, because I finally have a night that I don't need to drive children. And so I do something with the kids.
Crappy shows.
No, then I'm doing something with the kids. So I really don't get to.
She's usually sitting around knitting or crafting.
Yeah, that's what I do with my time.
Yeah.
I just sit around and
old
do
lady
nothing.
stuff,
Yeah, like most mothers, we just hang around to do nothing, eat bonbons.
Columbus did make a trade. They acquired Malcolm Subban, one that was a bit of a head scratcher for me because it was for future considerations. I mean, future considerations need to be moved at every trade deadline.
Oh, what is it?
She wants. No, she
She's
doesn't
standing
want
on
that.
my leg.
She wants
You
muffin.
want muffin?
You're next to muffin.
I know. Mom.
Bye.
There was a bun. She stands up on her hind leg and does this
baby.
with her paws, telling you she
Good
would like
girl.
some treats. What are your
you don't
thoughts
like the muffin?
on Jason Zucker being traded for a sixth round pick? And does pineapple belong on pizza? LOL.
Yep. Zucker, that's a good price for Zucker, honestly. I'm kind of surprised if the Canucks were in on Zucker, they weren't willing to go a little higher than that. I think that he can still be effective in the NHL. I think he's a good pickup, especially for a 6th round pick.
And pineapple belongs on pizza if you like pineapple on pizza.
Yep.
We do definitely have children in this house that do like it.
Once anchovies got onto pizza, I think everything's fine because anchovies are gross.
Do y'all only read super chats? Nope. But when there's a bunch of them, we kind of need to read them.
Because you can't, if you miss a regular chat, it's one thing, but you miss super chat, it's a whole other problem.
Then people just keep messaging me that I miss them. That'd be rude.
This is true.
Vancouver, Boston, and Dallas in a triple threat. Who do you root for?
Vancouver. Got to be Vancouver.
Any news on what teams are in on Matt Roy? Your thoughts on what his asking price would be?
I'd be very surprised if Roy gets traded. I think that Roy is a really solid defenseman. He's not old. I don't see any reason why they'd want to move on from him. I'm
so behind. Oh my gosh.
Oh, big time.
Probability in percentage that Vancouver Canucks will make a move. Thanks for what you do, from Port Coquitlam.
I'd put it at about 50-50. It depends on whether or not, if they're trying to move Lindholm, that might be the sticking point. Maybe there's not much of a market for Lindholm if they are trying to move him. So they may just be stuck.
How many Sharks have been traded or will?
So far, there's been Duclair last night. This morning, they traded Shimmick, who, of course, wasn't with the main team anyways. I think there'll be some minor moves. The Sharks don't have that much to sell. I think they would have sold a goaltender, but with Blackwood being hurt, I don't think they're going to do that either.
Your sonic screwdriver scared me on a flight recently because I listened to an old podcast and you used it. Thought the plane was malfunctioning. Shannon.
I apologize.
Oh, he's a troublemaker. Okay. Do you think the Canes win the cup if Sting does the storm surge for them?
I'm not superstitious. So
but you're a little stitious.
A little stitious. I don't think so, but maybe.
Do you believe the Bolts will make any more moves? Do you think Vasi is still hurt or something? He just seems off.
He does seem to be not quite Vasilevsky. His reflexes not quite where they were. Maybe he does still have a lingering injury he's dealing with. We know he came back a little bit earlier than expected. I don't know how much more we can expect with Tampa today. They are a team that looks like they could end up out of the playoffs.
Supposedly hearing Rangers waiting for Pacioretty to waive his no movement clause. What kind of return do they get on that?
I would think a mid-round pick would get Pacioretty. I don't think it's going to be a lot because he's not scoring goals this year. He's been prominent in the Washington games he's played, but the goal scoring just hasn't been there.
Flames qualify for playoffs.
They'll need somebody to cool off. The good news is Vegas, the number 2 wild card, they don't look strong right now. if Calgary can be the best of the teams below the playoff line, it absolutely can happen.
Hey, Shannon, fellow Bruins fan here. Any information on DeBrusk or Allmark possibly being traded?
I can't see Allmark going anywhere. I keep seeing those rumors and thinking, how can you do that? How can you trade Allmark? DeBrusk probably does get moved. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't.
It really skipped. Do you think the Avs will get a goalie?
Maybe. There's a lot of goaltenders that have been rumored to be out there. It's possible.
Any news on what teams are in on Matt?
You already asked Matt.
Okay, yeah, right, because I'm trying to read them and then I have to catch up. Yep. What's your cup prediction at this point?
Florida.
I can like our
right
video.
now it'll be Florida.
I can make smiley faces and stuff on our own video.
There you go.
Do you think the Avs will get a goalie?
You asked me that one.
I did. Okay. See, I'm just reading. I'm not paying attention. My dad ate anchovies and mushrooms on pizza.
Mushrooms
don't
are okay.
think that would be too bad. So
we're gonna have to get divorced.
Is Subban going to the Jackets? Monsters a sign that Elvis is on the way out?
I don't think so. They were trying to trade Elvis, and there wasn't much interest. They basically almost right away it became, it'll be in the off season. I don't think Elvis is going anywhere.
What are your thoughts on the Blues right now? Are they officially in rebuild denial?
They're rebuild denial adjacent at the very least. I think they need to do something to switch it up. It doesn't seem like they have a desire to do a rebuild.
Why do the Kings get called for the PLD contract yet the Devils get a pass for Meyer, who has been just as bad?
The Kings are in the playoffs. Their problem hasn't been much up front other than PLD. For the Devils, Meyer's been okay. I mean, like he had the hat trick last night. Meyer's been all right, and Meyer's also had injuries. So there's distractions. I don't think the Meyer contract is better.
Boston, Dallas, Vancouver within distance of the President's Trophy. Who has the best chance to break the curse?
Of the three, I would say Dallas, but Ottinger needs to be better in the playoffs than he's been in the regular season. But Dallas right now, like what Stankoven's brought them just in terms of overall excitement and offense, that's ridiculous.
You should go to Italy and give them pineapple on pizza. Wait, are you making pizza in Italy?
I don't want to go to Italy for pizza only. I'd be doing all kinds of things if I went to Italy. I don't know if I'd bother with the pizza. Pizza in North America is quite different than it is in Italy, though.
It is.
Just in general.
Pizza in France, it was very different. Will Edwards and Maroon make amends over a pizza dinner?
I'm sure they'll make amends. I'm sure they'll have a laugh about it. Maroon's not a jerk, and Jack Edwards, despite some of the things people think, I don't think he's a jerk either.
Odds on Monahan winning Bill Masterton.
It depends who else is eligible. Usually goes to a player that has dealt with pretty severe injuries and come back from them. So think like, for instance, Eichel going through what he went through with his neck and getting surgery that nobody thought he should get. Worked out pretty well, that kind of thing.
Can the Pens even move Crosby, Malkin, or Letang? And will they do so if they don't make the playoffs?
That'll be up to those veterans. I don't think they get moved by Dubas unless they ask to get moved.
Any word on Phil Kessel signing?
They were supposed to sign him by noon today so that he would be eligible for the playoffs. Jake Allen's apparently headed to New Jersey, so that's one move that's on the way.
Do you think Carolina gets a goaltender today?
They picked up, Anderson came back last night. They have Kochetkov. So with those two goaltenders, they don't really need to get another goaltender. They could use another young goaltender in all probability, but for today, they don't need to go and get another goaltender.
Pineapple on pizza doesn't bother me anymore since we have spinach, fish stick, frozen pizza here in Austria. That's different. Also, if Vancouver wins the cup, I'm coming over on foot to celebrate with you. I don't know if on foot would be the best idea.
If the Canucks win the cup.
We have different pizza here, too. Butter chicken pizza is really popular here. It's really good, too.
There are cats like canned tuna. Well, of course they do. Who wouldn't?
Every once in a while, like if we have tuna fish, I'll put the
not
water
good for them, though.
No, I'll put the water on their food.
I used to get canned tuna for my cats until I read up on it and I stopped.
What should the Leafs do, if anything at all?
Just pure depth moves. I think if Toronto is going to win, they're going to win with the guys they have in the room right now. I don't think there's anybody currently on the market that is a huge mover of the needle.
LA versus Edmonton, round 1. If both finish number 2 and number 3, bad for LA.
It could be, but Byfield has taken his game to the next level. He seems to be playing playoff hockey. I think the Kings are playing playoff hockey right now too. I think it's going to be close. The Oilers will still be the favorite if that's the series in the first round. We'll see if it happens.
Will the Forsling contract affect Roenick?
Not necessarily. I think most of us can see that Forsling takes a bit of a discount to stay in Florida above what he would have made as a free agent. It's just a restricted free agency situation for Hronek. I think he's going to probably end up at about the 6 to 7 million range.
No talk at all regarding Marc-Andre Fleury?
Both the Minnesota Wild and Marc-Andre Fleury have come out and said that A, they don't want to trade him, and B, he doesn't want to be traded.
Poutine pizza. I've had poutine pizza. Boston Pizza used to have it. It was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was actually really good. Will Steve Yzerman make any moves at the deadline or stay pat?
They don't have to make any moves. Detroit's not a team that has to make any moves, but they could, but I don't think it'll be anything major. Okay, so Allen goes to New Jersey for a conditional 3rd-round pick. If Allen plays enough games, it can become a 2nd-round pick. So, interesting.
Thanks for making me a believer in your channel. Aww.
I believe in my channel because every day I get up and make videos for it.
Because he's so cute.
So I believe in its existence.
Are you surprised that the Barzal Horvat Nelson line has worked well so far?
No, because Barzal is a passer, Horvat's a goal scorer, Nelson's a goal scorer. That's how it should be. You should have a primary passer with a primary goal scorer, and it works. And Horvat also is a guy who likes passing the puck as well. I think it's worked out pretty darn well.
What happens first, Maple Leafs, SCF, or Lions in
Super Bowl?
Oh, Super Bowl.
I'll say Lions in the Super Bowl. Because it's been a while for the Detroit Lions, too. I'll say Lions in the Super Bowl.
Somebody likes both of our jerseys.
Thank you.
I like my jersey, too. THG, best independent hockey media. Thank you.
Thank you for that compliment. Okay, Philadelphia's traded Wade Allison. Apparently, Elliot Friedman says it's to Nashville for Denis Gurianov. Wade Allison's one whose career seemed to be going in the right direction, and then injuries just absolutely submarined him. But I like Wade Allison. Gurianov, this is, I think, stop number 4 for Gurianov. We'll see if he does well in Philly. Gurianov to me doesn't scream Tortorella favorite. I'm kind of surprised at that one.
Hello from the UK. Can the Devils bounce back next year? And who is the goalie to get them there? If the Allen thing is true, I doubt it's him.
Allen won't turn it around. The net, either Nico Dawes and Schmid takes that next step next year. Maybe one or the other does. But they definitely need a veteran. The market this summer, maybe then Boston makes Ullmark available. Maybe he's the answer, but we'll see.
Wearing Winnipeg and Dallas. Love the 48's jersey. With Toffoli to Winnipeg, who wins the Central and who in the Central goes furthest in the playoffs? Sorry, New Jersey won't win the Cup this year. THG. P.S. Sorry to see about Bun on the THG Cats.
Man, the one to go furthest in the Central, I get the feeling it's going to be Colorado. I still think in the playoffs, Colorado's going to be really difficult to knock out. I think Colorado ends up being the one that comes out of the Central.
Neither of us have iPhones.
No.
I really, really don't like iPhones.
No, I'm not a fan of iPhones.
We both have Google phones. I really like Google phones. I think I'm on like my 5th Google phone, and I talked you into Google phones, I think 3 phones ago.
Yes.
We don't do iPhones.
They're
not
all
intuitive. I
all
really
pixels.
don't like the iPhones. I've tried. I don't like them. Sorry to all you iPhone people.
So Montreal retains 50% on Jake Allen in that trade. That's the last retention slot they have. Each team has 3 slots they can retain salary on. So that's it for Montreal.
How many points do you think Stankoven gets ROS?
Well, they've got about 20 games left. I'll say 20 points. I think you can go point per game from here, and I think a lot of that's going to be goals. And sadly, he'll have played too many games then to be eligible for the Calder next year. But if they win the Cup this year, I'm fine with that.
Should there be a trade freeze before the deadline?
No, I like the setup the way they have it now. I think that the NHL trade deadline, it's always been sort of an interesting time for all of us, and I think it's maybe a little less exciting than it used to be, but I don't see it changing. The one thing that's going to make it better next year is the salary cap making a substantial increase. The first time we'll have seen that since 2019.
I have a feeling wild card Nashville equals upsets.
Nashville's playing really, really well, and I would not be wanting a team I cheer for to play them in the first round.
Sorry if you already answered, but do you think Buffalo trades out Erik Johnson, maybe Yoki Haru or Jurgensen or even Comrie?
I don't think there's a market for Comrie right now. I think that if they want to trade Jurgensen's, I think that could work. Yoki Haru, I don't know if there's much market for Yoki Haru either. So, but a lot of the trades we're seeing today are players for mid to late draft picks. So maybe, but yeah, Buffalo it's sad to see them selling again. I was really hoping this would be the year they were at the very least standing pat. Did you miss a bunch?
I don't think so. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with all this chat.
Welcome to
We've
the
got
ELC.
A lot of people on here, so I'm trying. Let's see, still a chance for the Jets to get a defensive player. I've seen a few people asking that one.
There's always the chance. There's always that chance.
What's your opinion of AHL affiliates? Like in general?
They're good. We have one here in Abbotsford. Every team should have one.
We really like going to Abbotsford.
The affiliate, the best way that it should work is that players play the same system and style in the AHL as they will when they get called up. It works so well. And I think AHL affiliates as well. The closer they are to the NHL team. So, for instance, you've got the Toronto Marlies or the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, that works. I think that's a setup that has proven to be really, really smart over the years. So, yeah, I think affiliates handled right, key.
Somebody else agrees with me that the Apple stuff isn't intuitive.
Yeah,
that was my problem.
But titanium, brand new phone, exact same phone, like a whole truckload of dollars.
Truckload of dollars.
Just titanium. Look, we put a new case on it. Great. Does the screen still crack? Because that's been the problem, not the case.
Toronto will trade Sam to Canes for Frederick Anderson and Markstrom to Canes if a trade is done that way. 3-way goalie trade. Will that be a good deal?
No. Markstrom is one of the best goalies in the league right now. I don't think Markstrom's going anywhere. I don't think he wants to either. I don't think he's happy with how Craig Conroy's handled all the speculation around him. But yeah, I don't think Markstrom's going anywhere.
Do you think Talbot has taken the net back in LA?
I think he's been quite good lately. He's been streaky throughout his career. He's had some really good runs. He's had some rough ones too. The other thing is in LA, your backup there is Riddick. Riddick is not a starting goaltender. So yeah, it's his net.
Would eating peanut butter by the spoon be considered stress eating? The Leafs better do something. Soon the jar is almost empty. Well, peanut butter is delicious. So
peanut butter is delicious.
It's just a protein packed snack.
Erik Johnson's heading to Philadelphia, apparently. So he's heading there from the Buffalo Sabres. That's strange because Philadelphia is going to fall out of the playoffs, is what I keep hearing. They're going to be sellers. All right. Well, Erik Johnson's apparently headed to the Philadelphia Flyers.
If you had to choose, would you rather see Crosby be traded now to a contender or spend the rest of his good years in the cooked pens?
It's going to be up to Crosby. If Crosby wants to stay in Pittsburgh, he'll stay in Pittsburgh. If Crosby tomorrow says, you know what, I think I want to go, I think that they'll trade him this summer. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he wants to be part of turning this around in Pittsburgh.
Is it possible Vancouver moves Mikheyev today? He did look good last night. If not, who is Vancouver shopping around?
Garland's names come up a lot. I don't know if Garland's recent play and just how he's fit in with Tocchet systems are going to change things. I think Mikheyev needs to be moved. I think he needs to go. I think he knows he needs to go. He has played better lately. I just don't know that it's a good fit with Tocchet. So we'll see. But with the cap hit, I think the cap hit's probably a bit too high. Plus, he's still got term left. So makes it a little difficult.
It's extremely unlikely, but what do you think Colorado would have to give up for Crosby?
It'd be a lot. If Pittsburgh's going to trade the face of their franchise, if Dubas, within a year of taking over, is going to trade the face of the franchise, it's going to be a lot. You're looking at multiple draft picks, young players. I think the price would be extremely high because it kind of has to be if you're Kyle Dubas.
Jim Miller was asked about the deadline acquiring players. His response, we have plenty of stars here to focus on. Is this genuine or cap space jail?
Probably a bit of both. Usually, I mean, you should have faith in your team. So for GMs that don't get big moves done today, I expect them all to come out and say, we like our team. And they're probably telling the truth. Cap space is going to dictate a lot of what you're able to do. It's probably a mix of both.
Stank will be at exactly 25 games if he finishes out the season. Wouldn't he still be rookie eligible next year?
Yes, I think 26 is the cutoff. So I'd love to see him win the Calder, but I'd rather see him win a Stanley Cup because I'm that kind of person.
Okay. Hi, Shannon and Yvonne. Thoughts about the Rangers' moves? Because I think they're pretty good, but I'm not sure I know all that much about the players involved other than Weinberg and vaguely Nick Patan.
Patan is a fill-in in the fourth line. He can do that. Weinberg, depth forward, experienced. I like the Ruedel pickup. Not really much risk there. Veteran defenseman. He's got a lot of playoff experience as well. I like what the Rangers are doing because I don't think they needed major surgery.
What do you think about Jet Wu in Abbotsford? Do you think he's an NHL defensive man?
Well, we like Wu.
Awesome.
We like Wu. The one thing is, I don't know if he projects as an NHL defenseman. I think he's fine in the AHL. He's been quite good in Abbotsford. I'm not sure that he projects as an NHL defenseman, though.
He's your daughter's favorite player. Does that
count?
I hope
to be wrong. I don't know if he's an NHLer.
She's so excited when she sees him on the ice, and every time, where is he? Where's Jet? So, does that count? Does Rod the Bod whip Kuznetsov into shape, or is it too square peg round hole to work, a la Cement Canes previously?
I think Kuznetsov can have a good run with them as long as they find him the right line mates. And if he's rejuvenated, it may very well be he was having a down year because he wanted out of Washington. He's wanted out of Washington for years. So at the very least, he should have a bump in his production because he's going to be somewhere new and he should be excited. He looked excited in the post I saw on Twitter about it.
Thoughts on AHL affiliates being close to their NHL teams? Example, Carolina lost their Charlotte AHL affiliate and briefly had the Chicago Wolves.
I think that, like I said earlier, I think the affiliate being close and also having a good relationship with the affiliate. Now, for instance, here in Abbotsford, the Abbotsford Canucks are owned by Francesco Aquilini. So because he owns both the Vancouver Canucks and the Abbotsford Canucks, it's a streamlined process. It just works. So that's what Carolina needs, is to have one they own and is close to home. The relationship with the Wolves didn't end well, but they're not the first one to have a relationship with the Wolves not end well.
Do you do any live events in Abbey? I live there.
We have meetups in
Not
Coquitlam.
usually in Abbotsford. We usually go to Coquitlam.
We usually go to Coquitlam. We had one meetup in Abbotsford.
That was years
ago. That was a long time ago.
Like pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
We do we mostly do meetups in Coquitlam so that we're in the Vancouver metro. We have done a few in Chilliwack though. But once the season starts winding down, like during the playoffs, when there's gaps in days where there's games, that's when we start doing meetups. And I always make events for meetups on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is a lot easier to control meetups, and I always make them so that you do not have to have a Facebook account to be able to see them. So yeah, when we have them, they'll be on Facebook. Could we get a decent return for Barbanov?
Barabanov has not had a great year for San Jose. And I really liked Barabanov last year. This year, between the injuries and just lack of production, I don't know if there's much of a return if they do trade him. I would expect a late draft pick.
Are you going to fan appreciation night at Rogers Arena this year?
No,
I don't.
No.
We go to the Abbotsford one.
The Abbotsford one, yeah. That one, no. Okay, so...
Thanks for all the content. You guys are a cute couple. Aww.
Well, she's cute. This is not. This is a mess.
It's a nice hot mess.
Yeah, really? I'm so glad you're half blind.
My eyes are so bad, but it's
Yep,
okay. He's
it's
super
wonderful.
cute anyways.
Holy,
I know my hands are
your
really
hands
cold.
Are
They're
freezing.
very cold.
What did I tell you? I get you mitts. I get her warm clothes and mitts. It's like it's a hint.
Yeah.
You don't pick up on the hint.
I'll put my super warm, fluffy clothes on when we're done with the live stream. How's that?
Sure you will.
Yvonne is cute. Bunnies, cats are cute. Shannon is Shannon.
I'm here. Shannon is present. That's the way you deal with that. Cute, and he's here. Present.
Any more Pittsburgh trades?
Outside of Ruedel going to the Rangers, Gensel going to Carolina. Haven't seen anything else yet. I'm going to start writing stuff on the board, though, of players who have moved since we started the live stream. Not all together. I used to try to keep like all the trades, and then the trades would change, and then there'd be guys putting fake trades in there, and it's like,
Love the RCAF jersey. Thank you. I really like this jersey. I like a lot of the
See, and it's funny because that's the jersey I wore for the last video I did before the live stream.
Oh, I was trying to wear something different. I tried to not wear.
See, and I saw you were wearing that. And I thought, yeah, I can wear that for the trade video. And so I did that. It's like I could do that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
I try to not wear Jets too often, but I do have more. Well, I have the most of Canucks because I go to Canuck games. But
thoughts on the 5 AJHL teams moved to the BCHL? The fight between the CHL and the BCHL is interesting, and the AJHL teams going there. Now the CHL's considering. I think they're considering changing the NCAA rules about all this. Like, there's all this fight over basically the BCHL deciding we're going on our own. We don't want to be under CHL rule. I think it's fine. I think it's going to lead to a better environment for the players. Can be a little dirty, but it's probably going to end up with a better situation for players. So I support it.
Living in Vancouver and complaining about the cold, very funny. Sincerely, the rest of Canada. We're not complaining about how cold it is. He was complaining about how cold my hands are. Very different. And I wouldn't live in a different part of Canada because it would be too cold. I like where we live. We live in a very, very nice part. I like temperate.
We did have snow though. Just a couple days ago.
It's been snowing for like a week. Yeah. Not sticking because it's like 6 degrees while it's snowing, which is ridiculous. But I decided that Mother Nature realized they didn't snow enough, so got to get it all in before it's spring.
Andrew Peak has been traded to Boston. Huh.
Do you think? Excuse me. Do you think Ottinger will heat up come playoff time?
I sure hope so. Ottinger mixes really good games with really mediocre games. There's no way Dallas beats Colorado in a best-of-7 series if Ottinger can't bring his A game. And I say that knowing Georgiev has some consistency issues as well, but I think Georgiev's been a little better than Ottinger so far this season, so we'll see how it works out.
Somebody just noticed that you're left-handed.
I am left-handed. That's why I write with my left hand.
He is very left-handed.
Yep.
Any thoughts on Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight?
Ridiculous. I find myself rooting for Tyson, although he's 57.
It's an old guy and an obnoxious guy. I don't understand.
I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money Jake Paul makes doing this. Tens of millions of dollars. So I guess he's a genius.
Ridiculous. Leafs fan, 1 hour left. Can we salvage anything?
You can certainly try. I know that for my own sanity, I don't even turn the TV on anymore. I just have the Twitter feed and all that. And I don't have any expectation with the trade deadline. And also, as I've said, if a team has fundamental issues going to the trade deadline, generally the trade deadline doesn't fix those fundamental issues.
Where does Buchnevich go if he's traded from the Blues, and what does Army get for him?
Buchnevich is interesting. He's been producing really pretty darn well for Swiss. I think the Blues should be asking a lot for him. Apparently, they're willing to retain this contract, but I mean, we'll see if he gets moved. Vancouver wants top six forward. He would suit for Vancouver, but what would Vancouver trade back as a result? Like, are they willing to trade their number one draft pick this year? And it would probably be like first round draft pick. I think Podkolzin maybe, and then maybe another player as well. Podkolzin, if traded right now, might be able to develop a little better. I don't know if he's got a future in Vancouver.
Did Yvonne get the Ducks offspring jersey? No.
I meant to email Joey about that.
I wish. I was sad that we were there a week off from Offspring Night because that would have been awesome. I really like Offspring.
I was sad. I was honestly
that was
sad.
when I was, oh, seriously?
We even when we were going through the Duck store, we wanted to see if they had anything Offspring, and they didn't.
That would have been so cool. Yeah. Offspring's great.
Offspring's one of her favorite bands, so that would have been awesome. But yeah, we didn't get the jersey, sadly, because it's a nice looking jersey.
Wild fan here. I cannot wait to see Kuznetsov in action.
That's Kuznetsov.
Yep, I knew I slaughtered
Kuznetsov. And since that's the Wild, you have to learn how to say that name.
I don't have to learn.
I can't wait to see Kuznetsov in action either.
In
fact, I'd like to see them trade for Miroshnichenko so they could play on a line together.
I feel bad for
and then announcers could just like cry.
Have to try and get it to fit on the jersey.
that's when you
I saw Offspring last summer too. Wasn't it last summer? Last year. I did see them last year though.
Okay, so
that was fun. I went with a friend of mine.
Andrew Pete,
Shannon wouldn't do it again.
Andrew Pete goes to Boston for Jacob Sporel. Sporel's gone. Huh.
How does Tampa's front office explain sitting on their hands, and when they miss the playoffs, will someone be fired?
I don't think anybody's going to get fired. I think with Tampa, this just has been a rough year for them from the beginning. I think that you've got a team where a lot of that core now is older, and teams just age out of contention often. So I don't know how you fix it. I don't think there was anything at the trade deadline that was necessarily going to 100% fix it. Although if they'd got Hanifin, that would have gone a long way to replacing Sergachev.
Wings dressing 7 defense tonight. No Hall trade. If so,
I don't think they're going to be able to trade Hall. I don't see anybody taking Justin Hall's contract. So makes it a little bit more difficult that way.
Who do you hope is the 2-3 matchup in Central?
Winnipeg, Colorado. I don't want Dallas to play Colorado. Her team can play Colorado. Enjoying Colorado. I don't want to see Dallas against Colorado. Nah.
You're funny. The Sharks Isles game may have been the most empty I have ever seen an NHL game. There may have been less than 1,000 people there.
That building was really empty last night. But the Shark Tank has been mostly empty. We've even talked about it. She came in the other night and there was a Sharks game on. And what kind of makes it worse is they have those flashing lights on the seats. So the empty seats really show up that way. But yeah, San Jose, attendance-wise, they're right down there with Buffalo amongst the least attended games of the year. I know Arizona, but technically that building's full. Technically.
Is Liljegren done in Toronto? What's the return today?
I don't think so. I'd kind of be surprised. Okay, so the Sens claim Kachuk, and the Florida Panthers have claimed Bjornfot. So, and the Ducks claim Lagesson. That's a lot of claims. I'm going to put those in a different color, though, so the guys know it is not a trade, or at least I can explain it's not a trade. So Kachuk to Ottawa. Hopefully he plays better there. Bjornfot claimed by Florida. And Lagesson, claimed by the Ducks.
Should Calgary go full rebuild, or do they just need a retool? Do they build around Hubie, Kadri, Kuz, and Markstrom?
I think they've been pretty obvious. I think at least that they're looking to retool. I don't think there's any interest in a long-term rebuild in Calgary. I don't think they need it either. I don't think they're that far off. And this summer, if they can have the cap space necessary to make big additions, they could be a player in the free agent market.
After seeing what Fanatics did with MLB, are you concerned with them taking over NHL jerseys?
Oh, I've been concerned about Fanatics taking over since it was announced. I have tremendous concerns because we know that there's been a lot of complaints about their quality control. There's that one Jets hat where the logo was glued on upside down. That was one of my favorites. Somebody posted, I just got this. Look at this crap. Oh my gosh. But I'd have to keep it.
Yes.
Like if I had a hat with a logo upside
wear it
down,
every once in a while.
That'd be for when something's gone bad.
Yeah.
This team, things have gone bad, logos upside down. Can I get all the team's logos and get blank hats and you could sew all the logos on upside down?
No, I'm not.
This is a really good idea.
Not doing it.
I'm going to order 32 hats
You
from
can't
Lids.
really sew logos on a hat with a regular sewing machine. That doesn't work.
Okay, what kind of sewing machine can I buy you so we can make this work?
No.
Is it an embroidery machine?
Yes, that's it. An embroidery machine would totally do it. I need an embroidery machine so I can do.
All right. Or is it one of those Chris cut things? Is that one of those that would help?
A cricket?
Yeah, Chris cut.
Dork. Yvonne needs a serger. I just got a serger. There was this
I have done upside down
lady
magnets
on Craigslist from Chilliwack that was selling a really nice serger for less than half of the price. I was so excited. So I finally have a serger.
Yeah, you do.
I'm loving the Jets jersey. Me too. Thank you. I like this one a lot too.
Apparently I got the wrong jersey on.
A lot of people like your jersey. Have you not seen the comments about yours too? Aside from the Sharks being a horrible team as of late, Sharks games are boring as is. The fan experience is just not there anymore.
Yeah. The dread I have watching San Jose games now is just, it hits different. It just hits different.
It doesn't help that they're frequently really late.
Even when they're winning, like even in that game against Dallas, it was 6-3, and I thought this game's crazy, and yet it's not overly exciting. It felt more like sloppy than exciting. There's times where a 7-6 game is just ridiculous, and there's games where it's like, it's some sloppy goaltending and defense there.
So she can sew the logo since she has all the free time.
She does,
right?
While driving.
That's how I usually respond to people. Yeah. I'll just do that in my spare time.
Oh, I could get you like a portable sewing machine so you could do it while you're driving. Because you get stuck in traffic going to Vancouver all the time.
I wish my van could drive myself. That would be, or drive itself. That would be so nice. Think of like all the knitting I would be able to do, or like all the books I could read.
If we
that
could
would
get
be
one of the
so
cats
cool.
to be able to steer.
It's really fun. Tell him you need a BMW to sew those upside down logos on. Right there. I don't care about vehicles. I would like a not a minivan.
See, she says she doesn't care about vehicles, but if we had a BMW, she would be so happy with how it drives.
I'm possibly.
BMWs are really nice.
I would one day love not a minivan. I have been driving a minivan.
I think we need
since.
Yeah, I agree.
2007.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's time we get a different vehicle.
That would be really nice. I don't like driving to Vancouver in a minivan.
I think an SUV hybrid would be perfectly fine.
Sewing and driving. I see a huge car accident pile up coming.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I get one of the cats to steer the vehicle. I'm not stupid. Just trying to figure out which cat. I think Maple would be the one that would take to that
slightly newer minivan. My minivan's not too old. It's
2019.
No, it's a 2019.
Oh, it's way old.
It's not too old. It's pretty. Yeah, it's for me. That's pretty new vehicle.
And since there's a shortage of minivans, they will take a trade in.
They keep asking me for my minivan.
Yeah.
They do. I get texts every once in a while. I really don't like driving. I really don't like driving to Vancouver. I don't like driving. So I would like a smart car. That would be great.
Oh, yeah. Rogers is getting
black seats.
They're going to have cup holders in the Vancouver games too in the seats.
Ooh, fancy. Probably only the middle seats though.
I don't know. The way it sounded like it's going to be. I think it's going to be the lower bowl.
But they did the new seats in Abbotsford, and they only put the nice seats in the middle
because they're the club seats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that.
The whole middle section on both sides are the nice seats.
We could take a train to Vancouver, but it doesn't run.
I'd have to go from Mission.
Yeah, so the drive to Mission's like 20 minutes.
Super early, and then I'd have to park my van in Mission.
Yeah,
and then I'd go to Waterfront. I wish. That would be nice. They do need better transit here. They need better transit. It would be awesome.
We could take a bus to Vancouver.
Oh my gosh, it takes forever. It takes an hour.
You have to do all the transfers
for a bus to Langley to the
Prince George, King George.
No, starts with the C.
King George.
Transfer station in Langley.
Kangley.
No,
it starts with a C.
Corvallis starts with the C. Has an L in it and a V. I don't remember. Okay. One day Abby will get SkyTrain access. They've been saying that for so long.
Decades.
So long.
That was a rumor in the 90s.
Yeah, busing from Abby to Van would take like 3 hours. Yeah.
It's that's been a rumor since the 90s.
Carvel. I knew somebody would know it.
I knew what it was too. I was just waiting for you to figure it out.
I don't. But it takes an hour. My oldest son does that bus every
One of my favorite games is to know the word she's trying to say and then just throw the wrong words at her constantly.
He's such a brat. He does.
It's one of my favorite games.
He finds it entertaining.
It is entertaining.
I don't remember words.
Well, Pat's ready to be done after this season. It's possible. He's been the goal scoring's not there. I think he is as close to 100% as he's going to get. This may very well end up being the last run for
him. How far till Surrey? Like by vehicle or metro? Vehicle, it's only like a half hour if there's not stupid traffic on the at Aldergrove. That's where the bad traffic is. But if there's not traffic, it's only a half hour. Transit's probably like 2 hours.
There's no one new on waivers today. Waiver wire is empty because now we're at trade deadline, so there's no point in waiving anybody.
Is it safe to say Toronto can cancel the Cup parade preparations?
It's funny. The people will say that with Toronto and Vancouver both, but I think fans in Toronto and Vancouver are pretty realistic about things. I don't think there's an expectation of a Stanley Cup. I don't think that there was anybody available on this trade deadline that was going to transform the Toronto Maple Leafs into a Cup champion if they didn't already have a contending roster now. I don't think Gensel would have been this huge turnaround for them. I don't think Hannafin would have fixed all their problems either.
What are the Canucks doing? Signing Phil Kessel, top 6 forward, or what?
They're supposed to be signing Kessel today before noon. They have until noon to get that done. And then outside of that, I know they wanted a top 6 forward. Most of them are gone. So the price may just have been too high for Vancouver. I'm okay with it because I don't think they should be going all in right now. I think the Lindholm trade, the Zadorov trade, I think those trades are enough. And I mean, I think part of the issue with Vancouver is they want to move Lindholm out, and I don't think they've been able to do it.
I lived in Burnaby 15 years ago. I remember it being okay to get around on transit there, but as soon as you tried getting further than Surrey or Tsawwassen, came a pain. Yeah. If you want to do transit, you really need to drive to Scott Road, that park and ride, and then you can do any of the Vancouver Metro transit, but and there's not very many that you can just drive and park to get into the Vancouver Metro, which is ridiculous.
Well, it's a park and ride at McCallum.
That would No, see, but then you get to the taking 3 hours to get to Vancouver.
It's still a parking ride. You're still just riding. You're not
It's
driving.
that is true.
So it takes 3 times long. You're still just riding.
Is Dallas done? If not, who's left to chase?
Dallas doesn't need to do much. It feels like calling up Stankoven may have helped. I think. I mean, I like Wedgwood as a backup. I don't want to say that they should upgrade their goaltending. I think another defenseman would be all right, but I don't think they need any forwards. I think they're in pretty good shape. Chatfield.
Was that a TDA? Is that better than Chatfield? Want KK and Pesci out. Don's TDL grade?
I wouldn't put Tony D'Angelo ahead of Chatfield. D'Angelo cleared waivers today. I also think that Kotkaniemi with his contract, he's not tradable right now, even if they wanted to. Pesci's on an expiring contract. Didn't get moved so far today, but we still have about 45 minutes until the deadline, so we'll see if that still remains the case. I think they would like to get either an extension done with Pesci or move him.
Should Red Wings fans sound the alarm as they might miss playoff with losses against Colorado and the 2 games?
No, tonight they're in Arizona. If they lose against Arizona, if they look listless, then you can sound a bit of an alarm there. I still think Detroit's tracking in the right direction. Even if Detroit misses the playoffs this year, if they're close, that's a heck of a lot better than they've been for a long while. So Detroit's definitely taking the right steps.
Shannon, manifest a Canucks trade.
If I could, Toffoli would be a Canuck, but he's a Jet because I get overruled by this lady right here. So she made the phone call to Cheveldayoff before I got on the phone to
all
Alvin,
my connections.
and that happened. So sorry, Mike. I tried, but she already had the phone, and so I apologize. Sorry.
Do you think Avs trade for another goalie, or does the young
Annanen
get a chance?
I know they're just back-to-back shutouts over Chicago, but I think he's looked good. So I think he gets a chance. Once they waived Prosvetov and made him the backup, I think he's getting the opportunity to be that backup. Francouz is not coming back. So, yeah, maybe the asking price was just too high for them.
If he was making beaded bracelets with his name on it, he would run out of ends really quick. I have enough of that problem with my name, and he has more. Well, unless I do my middle name as well. He would run out of ends. That's a lot.
I have a lot of ends in my name.
I know. That's why we can't do anything with letters, because we would run out of.
So you're going to spell my name with numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have lots of N's and O's. What phone is that? It's a Google phone.
It's a Pixel 7 Pro?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pixel 7 Pro.
Is Florida done after
a Pozo? I think they may go after another defenseman. I think they've done really well for themselves over the last few days. Tarasenko's a really solid addition. Pozo's fantastic in that bottom 6. I don't think they need to do much else. I think they're in really good shape right now. To me, Florida, I could see a 1996 Colorado-Florida rematch in the Stanley Cup final this year. I could see that.
Trade deadline, more like trade deadline.
I called it. There's a reason this video live stream started at 10 o'clock and said we used to do them at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes,
and
that's right.
And it was early. It just ended up being like us just standing around for the first 2 hours, nothing happening. So
talk about random stuff.
Gradually, I've cut it back to 2 hours of trade deadline coverage. Because I used to be like, I'm going to do the same as like TSN and Sportsnet and have that. Nah. They've got panels and extra panels, and then they've got like little joke segments here and there. And it's just me and Yvonne. And so, yeah. The cats don't do tricks. You can try. You can try. Tricks? But they generally won't do tricks. Isn't that right?
Do you do tricks? Anything?
Nothing?
She's just down at the floor, like, look at him, look at me. Look at him, look at me.
Nothing, kitty?
Shannon, please give the Sharks very limited trades so far a grade.
I think trading Duclair was a win. I think Duclair was on a hot streak, so now's a good time to trade him because there's been plenty of time this season where he didn't look necessarily great. I think considering the roster they have, I'd give them a passing grade so far. I'd give them a C. I think they've done as well as they can. Because again, not a lot of guys on expiring contracts that teams are going to be demanding. So you got to look at the supply and demand side of things.
You've probably already talked about it already, but what's going on with Vancouver?
They wanted Gensel. The price on Gensel was too high. I think they were in on Toffoli as well. Toffoli, of course, goes to Winnipeg. They're just being outbid, which I'm okay with. I am perfectly fine with having management that's not willing to do anything to get players, because I do have my concerns about whether or not the success the Canucks have right now is going to be sustainable past the season. And I'd rather not see them mortgage the future on this run right now.
Are you going to do a video giving everyone a trade grade?
I don't do the grades. I generally don't do the winners and losers, but I can talk about who I think did well. I usually will say who I think did well at the trade deadline. And I don't necessarily give a failing grade to a team that doesn't make trades. Sometimes your team's okay.
Where are all the cats? Well, there's one right at our feet. I think you can see Azrael. Yeah, you can see Azrael, the little orange kitty.
Bear.
Oh, Shannon's blocking her. She's right there in the basket. In the tree right next to that, you can't see it, is Shadow and Maple. So the only one not in here is Pixel, and she's on our bed. What? What? Did Dad not pick you up? Did he just touch you and not pick you up?
So I think Vasi's a problem in Tampa right now. He's not himself. I wouldn't say he's a problem, but he's not providing them. He's not providing them with the same level of goaltending that they're used to. I think he could still be dealing with a nagging injury. I do think that could be part of it.
Thank you.
Thoughts on Costin to San Jose? Duclair talked about interest in returning to the Sharks this summer. And I could see that. I could see Duclair going back there. Costin was decent for Detroit. I'm honestly kind of surprised that Costin got traded by the Red Wings, but I guess there's other plans, or, Yzerman just didn't see him as being part of the team right now, and so Costin moves on.
Bear is so clingy. You have no idea.
All day. It's all day.
She would love to be
Last
held.
night, I'm watching all these games, and I had to call Yvonne in. I was like, please make her go away.
It's true. I have to take her into the bedroom.
Yeah.
And then she'll be okay.
So I see the tweet from Peter Ignat about Salt Lake City and Atlanta being expansion teams 33 and 34. That's one of the worst kept secrets in the National Hockey League right now. My prediction is 2030 for the expansion date.
Concerned about Dallas's lack of toughness and grit.
I have some concern, but they have some pretty big defensemen, and there's definitely some grit there. Pavelski provides some of that. Marchment provides some of that. Hakanpää's huge. He's a hulking defenseman. I think Dallas will be okay on that front.
Somebody says SkyTrain's supposed to get to Willowbrook eventually. I don't know. How many years will that take? Because we've been hearing about the SkyTrain coming out to Abbotsford for
SkyTrain for decades.
Yeah, it has to be at least 20 years.
Yes.
At least. Because it was supposed to go down like the median of the highway or something, which they're tearing up.
When Expo 86 happened, one of the first things that was said was the vision is to eventually have it all the way to Chilliwack. And I laughed so hard when I heard that back in the 80s as a teenager, because I was like, I don't know how they're going to build that. That's a lot.
That's far. That would be really expensive too.
Yes.
It's not like you'd have a ton of stops.
Pods just got sent down. Trader Kessel signing. Not necessarily. A lot of the time, these are paper moves. So you move a guy down on paper, but he doesn't necessarily actually report to the AHL team. It's just a move to mess around with your salary cap. But maybe they're going to sign Kessel. I would think if they sign Kessel, it'll be league minimum for the rest of the season.
Thoughts on a defensive that could thrive in Tampa?
The most pressing need for Tampa Bay and on their blue line right now is to try to find somebody who can do what Sergachev did, because Sergachev's been hurt. I don't think there's anybody on the market available who can do what Sergachev did. Like, I keep hearing rumors that Matt Dumba of the Arizona Coyotes may be on the move. And maybe he ends up being a guy who goes to Tampa Bay. But he's not going to provide the kind of numbers that you get from Sergachev. Dumba can hit, but his offensive numbers have just absolutely cratered this year in Arizona. So I don't know if there's anybody on the market that can give them what they need on that blue line.
They've barely touched Highway 1 in Fraser Valley to the point it's undrivable. And, westbound in the mornings and at night. It's at night too. It from Lougheed all the way through Aldergrove till you get to like that Langley exit. It's so backed up. It's easier to drive through the berry fields, which is what I usually do. If I'm driving after 3 o'clock, it's easier to just go through the berry fields. Hi, Cinnabon. In your right. She's eating a cookie.
No, she's not. She's sniffing it and looking at me.
That's not what I want.
Oh, now you're going to eat it.
Now she's eating cookies.
There you go.
They're bunny cookies. Don't worry. I'm sure Shannon would feed
I gave her that hours
cookies.
ago, and she just glared at me like, that's not what I wanted. And then she chinned the plantain chips I was trying to give her. I was like, well, don't mark it. Just eat it.
Thank you. Can you not?
Flying to Vancouver right now from Dallas. Going to see Canucks versus Jets tomorrow. Canucks are my second favorite team after Stars. That's going to be a really good game.
That would be a really fun.
That's going to be a really good game. Yvonne's seen the Jets once live.
It was so fun. That has to be one of the most fun games. Oh, there's the buns. There. No. Can you hear them? They're running. They're running. Doing laps. Bunny laps. They do circles around. We've got the set stuff. We've got the desk and there's a light and we've got the magnets and such, and they do laps. How do you think Future Considerations will do instead of St. Louis? He's had a down year so far, but do you think a change could help his production?
Sure, it could. Here you go, baby.
Oh, somebody earlier was asking what that meant. What Future Considerations meant.
Future Considerations has been around for a very long time. What it means is that, okay, we'll give you this player and we're not worried about a return right now, but at a later date, there could be a trade that happens that rounds it out. So it's similar to a player to be named later. A lot of the time it's just dumping a player off. So those future considerations never turn into anything, but they used to when it was traded for a player to be named later. But the NHL decided that wasn't allowed anymore.
If you're Doug Armstrong, how do you go about fixing the messy, disconnected Blues roster currently without a total rebuild now and the offseason? Sorry.
I don't know that he can fix it now. I think it's going to have to be done in the offseason. You have to get Kyrou back to trending towards being one of the best young forwards in the league. Kyrou was great. This year, I don't know what's happened. He's been better lately. So you've got to get him going first. And then it's a matter of taking the good young pieces you have, jettison some of the veterans that may not be fitting in or may not be helping things and go from there. The Blues, I think it's fixable. I do. I don't think it's as bad as it's looked at times this year.
Thoughts on Coastal?
You already read that one.
I did. Yeah. I'm told I missed one and I'm not finding it. I don't see the super chat that I apparently missed.
Nobody's sending anything on.
There we go. Weeks said Allmark next to trade because of geography. What team would have you think that could be? Peak? No retained salary. Who do you think is out?
Well, it was Peak versus Borrell.
Way up there.
Man, I'd be very surprised if Boston traded Allmark. I'd be really disappointed if they traded Allmark. Now, if it was a geography thing, maybe it was a Canadian team and he didn't want to go to the Canadian team. Maybe it was West Coast. He didn't want to play on the West Coast. So outside of those two speculations, it would just be this wild, crazy speculation. And yeah, those are the two most likely, either a Canadian team and he was like, I'd rather not, or West Coast and maybe his family's situated on the East Coast and he doesn't want to make that move.
Don't worry, Bear knows she's cute. You talked about Dallas's grit. What about Carolina?
Carolina could definitely use some toughening up. Carolina's an interesting team, though, in the style of hockey they play. It's a fast game. There's not a ton of penalties, generally, ton of I mean, if you don't count Svechnikov takes plenty. I think that the grit thing gets overblown a little bit in the playoffs. I think playoff toughness shows up in how you take those hits and how you deal with it, just as much as how you give those hits. And I think Carolina's shown they can be a playoff team. They've been in the conference finals twice over the last 4 years, and they're a favorite to win it. So I don't think they need a lot in terms of grit.
Have you ever seen future considerations turn into something good?
Not usually. Usually it's just its player team wants to dump off. The player to be named later used to be interesting, but yeah, they don't have that anymore.
Does New Jersey make any other moves today?
Well, we know they needed to fix their goaltending. Adding Jake Allen is probably the one move they were able to make there. I don't think any other additions are coming. Allen's had a bit of an up and down season. I don't know if he's going to be much of an improvement for New Jersey over what they've had. I don't know if that's going to salvage the season on any level. We'll find out.
Would love to hear why you're fans of your teams.
Well, I grew up in the Vancouver market, so it made sense for me to be a Canucks fan. Boston, I grew into being a Canucks fan because of the fact that they had my favorite goalie, who was Andy Moog. They traded for Cam Neely. I love Neely in Vancouver, so I was glad to see him in Boston with Moog. And my favorite defenseman was Ray Bourque. So there were really players I liked there. Minnesota, the North Stars. I followed their Stanley Cup final run in 1981. Kevin Maxwell, who played for those Minnesota North Stars. I met him in Chilliwack, and he actually autographed a pennant I used to have on my wall. So that certified that I was going to be a Minnesota North Stars fan, and then that fandom followed them to Dallas. So there you go.
Did the Oilers do enough to get the Stanley Cup?
I don't think they've done anything to cost themselves the Stanley Cup. I think that's something that's different. I will say the Oilers they're going to be fascinating to watch in the playoffs because they have all the pieces they need. Fogel's had a career year. Don't do that. And I think their blue line, we've seen improvement in Bouchard, a lot of improvement in Bouchard. I think Nurse has had a bounce back year, and Skinner's been a good starter. So I don't think a lot needed to be done by the Oilers today.
I'm a little surprised the Rangers haven't found a deal for either Vetrano or Buchnevich. Do you think the price is probably too high for the Rangers?
St. Louis isn't trading Buchnevich unless it's a home run of a deal. Vetrano, I'm mildly surprised hasn't been dealt as of yet because he's having a really good year. But is Vetrano going to be a 30-goal scorer every year? Probably not. So this is the highest value he's going to have. I'm really kind of surprised that the Ducks haven't made a move yet.
Somebody asked why their cats eat boxes and plants. So do ours. Actually, Azrael's the only one that really eats boxes. She eats boxes. Pixel and Bear eat plastic bags.
Because she thinks she's a rabbit.
She does. Maple and Azrael both eat hay and vegetables because they think they are bunnies. It's so funny. They run
kittens,
to the bunny food when I feed them their salad.
I have seen Maple eating their bunny food out of the bowl. The pressed hay.
I see them eat hay, and they definitely eat the spinach and lettuce and parsley. No, they're such weird cats. We have weird cats. All of our cats are weird.
2027 third-round pick is going to Columbus as well in that Andrew Peak deal. Columbus did all right there because Peak has not had a great year. So getting a draft pick and Sporel's not bad.
Vegas practice set to start a few minutes ago. Just changed to an off-ice workout. Thinking Vegas is trading a player.
It's possible. Very, very possible. Vegas wants to create as much cap space as possible to bring guys in and figure this out. I don't know. I don't know. Like, to me, losing Stone and adding Mantha, I don't think that necessarily makes things a lot better. I don't know. I don't know if Vegas is going to be able to pull themselves out of this tailspin. So we shall see what they do.
Thank you both for all the channel work. It's a big part of my day when I first get home from work to sit down and catch up on all the NHL stuff.
Thank you.
And thanks for all of you watching and liking and
you guys watching and all
the super chats.
There wouldn't be any point in me doing this.
That's what makes us able to have the channel.
Yeah.
I was a fan of whatever team Ray Whitney played for.
I liked Ray Whitney. I did. He's a good player for a long time.
Hold on, it skipped. Oh, that was Mark. I haven't seen Mark for a while.
The worst trade in NHL history. I would say Naslund for Stoyanov. I would still say Naslund to Vancouver for Stoyanov. Draper for $1 though. That was something.
Okay, there we go. Do you think any Canuck prospects will get some ice time with the Canucks before the end of the season?
Lekaramaki.
Or the other, Elias Pettersson? We were talking about that just yesterday.
Lekaramaki could get a look. If the Canucks were not a playoff team, I would say yes. But since they're a playoff team and they're looking to load themselves up for the first round, the only way Lekaramaki comes in and plays, I think, is if there's an injury. Same thing with Pettersson. But both of them look like they're going to be good NHL players.
Oh, Shannon, you are the man. Right? Been watching since 2018. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Shannon is pretty cool, huh?
Man, this is so quiet for a
worst
trade deadline.
in NHL history.
I just went through that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, this is such a quiet trade deadline.
Who would want Tyson Barrie right now?
Yeah, he hasn't been moved yet. So we were talking about Tampa Bay. Maybe Tampa looks at Barrie. Barrie is an offensive defenseman that this year has not been scoring very well for Nashville, but in the right circumstance on the power play. And I think at this point in time, Barrie's probably specifically designed for the power play. He might be all right for that second unit for Tampa if they were to pick up Barrie. So that's as close to trade speculation as I get right there, where I go, yeah, I could see that working. Nashville and Tampa have traded with each other before, so I don't think they'd ask for 25 draft picks this time. That was the Jeannot trade.
Any more moves the Avalanche could or should make?
The Avs are in really good shape. If they were able to find somebody that they had a little more faith in than Annunen for the backup role, maybe. But again, as I said, he has had back-to-back shutouts.
Do you guys like watermelon?
No. She does.
Not that he answered that quickly.
I do not. I ate so much really watermelon as a little kid that I made myself sick of it, and I will never eat watermelon again.
That was just so funny.
I reached the point where I would actually physically get ill with the smell of watermelon makes me sick.
Man, Shannon, it's almost like you said the other day that the tread line's going to be pretty slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying Dumba to Tampa.
You know why? Because I mentioned that about a half an hour ago.
Do the Wings try and move Berggren today?
They might, but I mean, he's a young forward. If he's going to go somewhere, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Vancouver. He's Swedish and he's a good player. So, all right, Dumba.
What should the Isles do for their future moving forward? Also, I think they should switch their home jerseys to navy blue. The royal blue is played out, in my opinion.
So the same color as the first reverse retros. I wouldn't mind that at all. But they went back to the royal blue not too long ago. The Islanders are in an interesting position. I know that Lou said he wanted to add. Eventually, they're going to have to get younger. Like at some point in time, they're going to have to get young players. They just don't seem to have any interest in it. So that's where I would go if I was the Islanders, is towards young players. I'm not even all that sure how they make the playoffs half the time, but it works.
Have you been to a Kings game?
In Vancouver? Yeah, and we're going to the Kings game in Vancouver early April. But
oh, that's right. I knew that was soon.
We haven't gone to one in LA. We have to now because somebody's been promised a ride in a Zamboni. So since somebody's been promised a ride in a Zamboni, she will be bugging us to go to LA if we don't.
Gotta figure it out somehow.
So we'll have to make that happen.
Remember when Chicago traded Dominic Hasek to Buffalo for
Stefan Beauregard?
Best ever.
Yep. Hasek, it was interesting because in Chicago, his numbers weren't great. And there was some debate about whether or not his unorthodox style was going to work and whether or not he could be a starting goaltender because he was so unorthodox in his style. So that's part of the reason he was traded for Beauregard, is because he was seen as maybe he's a starter, maybe not. And then once he was given the reins as a starter, he turned out to be okay.
he turned out to be all right.
Oh, your channel is 100% go-to channel for NHL news.
Thank you very much.
Oh, how nice. Why don't you think Lindholm has been clicking with the Canucks so far?
Well, see, I heard it described on one of the TV talking head type shows. I think it was on TSN. And I agree with this, that Lindholm is a natural center. He should be a top 2 center. Vancouver's covered there. And he doesn't fit in well as a winger. So it's a move that when you look back, I still think the Lindholm acquisition was just in case Petey left. So if Pettersson decided to move on, well, then you have Lindholm and you can re-sign Lindholm and keep him, and he can be one of your top 2 centers. Once Pettersson signed that 80-year extension, Lindholm becomes expendable. At least that's my theory on it. I don't know. I haven't checked with sources, but that's my theory on it.
Has the NHL ever approached you to join them as an analyst?
No.
Sleepy Bear is adorable. That's why I turned so you guys can see how she lays on me. It's funny. Do you sing the national anthem at meetups? It would be so weird. It would be really, really weird.
I don't even know when we would do that because we just throw the sticks.
That would be so
do we
weird.
Just have you go in and throw all the sticks and then sing it? Do we have to put our hands over our heart? Does everybody have to take their hat off?
You'd have to take.
Who would sing it?
Adelaide.
Hey, Mike.
She'd be fine.
Mike, can you come sing the anthem? We can't start until you get here.
He doesn't live too far away. It's okay.
You'll be here in 25 minutes. Yeah, no.
Wild. One more year of cap hell. Salary cap jumping in 2 years. Loaded prospect pool. And
Kuznetsov.
There you go. I knew it was going to kill it. Coming to play. Kirill. Should we be optimistic?
Minnesota, it's going to be a tough next year and a bit. But once that cap penalty for Parise and Suter, once that goes down, they're in okay shape. You've got Wallstead in net, so Wallstead should be good to go as the starter by the time that rolls around. Yeah, I think there's good reason to be optimistic about the Wild.
Let's see.
Yeah, Eric Johnson to the Flyers, already on the board right here. Dumba to Tampa. Sporrell to Columbus. Kind of a bit of a surprise with that one. I hope Sporrell gets this game together. We haven't seen the return for Dumba yet. I would imagine.
How do you get your cat to act like that? You
can't make a cat act anyway.
Cats do what they want to do.
I can try with Shadow, but I'm going to get scratched to hell if I try to make him do anything he doesn't want to do.
Do you shout True North during the anthem at Canuck games? That would be weird.
You could, though. You'd have to wear your Jets jersey or else it'd look weird.
Again, at a Canucks game?
Yeah.
That would be weird. I've worn my Jets gloves to Canuck games, but that's about, and I've brought my Jets purse to Canuck games, but that's as far as I go.
That's true.
Thanks for all you do. Have a coffee on me.
Thank you very much. Yes, Jake Allen's gone to the New Jersey Devils.
Does anyone pick up Bronta?
No one took him on waivers. He cleared waivers. All the Carolina guys that were on waivers yesterday, they all cleared.
Being able to call up Bublé to sing the anthem for a meetup would be awesome. And you know how much he would love that? He has wanted to come to a meetup.
He has.
That would be super fun.
But usually when we have meetups is when he's doing tours.
He's a very, very busy man.
Yes.
When will the next road hockey game be?
I want to say in about a month. Probably in about a month. I'm trying to find time in the NHL schedule to make it work because it has to be on the weekend. So even though for me it'd be best to do it on like a Monday, well, it's not best for everybody else to do it on a Monday. And then since it's outdoors, I have to try to make sure that the weather should work with us. But like on the 29th, there's only one game on March 29th between the Devils and the Sabres. Probably not going to decide the Stanley Cup that day.
That sounds like a super exciting
But it's a
game.
Friday. So if we have it during the day, nobody shows up. March 29th.
Why am I thinking there's something? Oh, that's Easter weekend.
Okay.
That's Easter weekend. Isn't that Easter Friday?
I don't know.
I think that's Easter Friday.
Oh.
I think, can you control the weather?
I wish. It'd be so nice. Okay, so Matt Dumba and a 7th to Tampa Bay in exchange for a 5th in 2027. No salary retention on Dumba.
Oh, see, Good Friday, March 29th. There you go. See, I was right. I know stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, Dumba got the return that I thought. Dumba will do well in Tampa. He's really worked on his physical game this year, more prominent that way, decent defensively. Maybe the offensive game comes back in Tampa. Do I see the Bruins doing any more trades? They want to. They want to fix the forward group. I don't think they're going to be able to unless they can find a taker for DeBrusk. Because I think DeBrusk's on his way out.
Good Friday's not a holiday, but it is spring break. Easter Monday is a holiday, though.
Good Friday's the stat. I got paid double time and a half on Good Friday. Did you get double
time on Good Friday?
Yep. Okay, lots of places close up on Good Friday.
I know it's spring break. How do you feel about Tyler Myers in the playoffs?
As long as he stays out of the penalty box, I think Myers is good. And Myers has had a good year. I think nobody likes the contract. I think Myers has played well this season. Not $6 million well, but he's played well.
Do you see a rebuild in the Islanders' near future?
Not with Lou at the helm. I don't think Lou wants to do any kind of rebuild. If they make a change at the GM spot over the next year or two, then we'll probably see some kind of retool from the Islanders, I would think. Because honestly, they win more games than I think they probably should. They're one of those teams that just somehow they're able to get those wins. They work really hard.
Do you update the power rankings after a trade or only after games?
No, only after trades. Because I've seen certain power rankings that injuries will affect where a team is on the power rankings. I don't like that. And so I only base it on the results. And I don't care about anything. Just did they win? Did they not? And how did they look in the win? How did they look in the loss? Who did they win against? Who did they lose against? And then I update from there.
How many animals do we have?
12.
Lots.
It is now 12.
5 cats, 5 rabbits, 2 guinea pigs.
Yep.
Lots. Let's see. Big thanks to you both. Much prefer Shannon over the talking heads. Only thing that's fluffed up is the rabbits. You guys are a big part of my day and hockey news.
Thank you.
Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does Vancouver make a last-minute move? I'm asking the cat and THG.
I think
okay.
Vetrano's the biggest name that's still out there, so it's possible. Bear's not a big fan of Vetrano. Bear's always told me I overrate Frankie. She will sigh and say, "Look, stop talking about Vetrano seriously," and that's enough. And then she goes back to licking her butt.
Bear always looks ticked. It's the markings around her eyes. It makes her look like she's always angry.
She's a very happy cat.
She is. She's always happy. She's never upset. She's always happy.
I've had this cat for 10 and a half years. She's never hit me.
She thinks Shannon's like the
she is
best
never. She
thing
will
ever.
not get mad at me, no matter what. She will not. She's never hit me.
No, we don't have dogs because we have 5
and
cats and 5 rabbits
and guinea pigs
and children, and I don't have that kind of time.
Nope.
And it would not be fair to a dog.
My thoughts on the Sharks goalies. Kakkonen's been so wildly inconsistent. Sometimes he looks really good, other times not so much. Blackwood, good, but we know he gets injured on the regular. Corona, he looked great against Dallas. Outside of that, not fantastic. Last night's game against the Islanders, there were a couple that weren't great goals. Corona needs more time.
Bear is always cleaning herself, always. Especially
she's very
if
white.
There's a
Her
video.
fur's very white here, though. Like she's very clean.
If there's a video being recorded, it's like the Pavlov's dog. The beep of the camera means it's bath time.
Yeah.
Did the Red Wings make any moves?
I haven't seen anything around the Red Wings yet, other than they traded Kostin. So Kostin's been traded by the Wings. They get Shimmick from, I believe that's the Shimmick deal from San Jose. Shimmick cleared waivers earlier in the season, so I'm mildly surprised he moved on from Kostin. He's kind of bouncing around a bit now.
I have seen Bear reach up and smack Shadow on the old cat tree.
Oh, she fights with her brother all the time. I've had to break up fights between her and Shadow a few times over the last couple of weeks, which is unusual. Normally they aren't fighting like that, but I guess she's just ticked off with him right now. Just bugging her.
Can you do any video wearing a Pear Juice jersey while sipping pear juice?
I would love to have a Pear Juice jersey.
I know you would.
Although Christian Juice, still the best name in the history of hockey.
He does quite
that
enjoy
name.
That one.
I am so sad with that one that he's gone.
How do you feel about Tampa's additions? Love you guys.
Tampa, I think Dumba's going to be okay. I think Tampa's done pretty well with what they've done. Duclair's a good forward for them. Apparently, Jack Roslovic's going to Columbus in exchange for a mid-round pick in 2026. Roslovic's had a very up-and-down season in Columbus. That's a good addition for the New York Rangers. I would think there's probably going to be some salary retention there as well.
Hi, Shannon. I'm pretty sure I worked with you at Vantage in 2017. I left in 2020. Pretty sure you were a first aid attendant.
I was a first aid attendant. That would have been towards the end of my time there.
That was like you quit in 2017, didn't you?
Yep. Okay, Jack Roslovic goes to the Rangers. We'll put Roslovic next to the Rangers. Pacific sure is quiet.
Oh no, what did we give up? That's always the first thought, isn't it?
Mid-round draft pick. Mid-round draft pick.
There you go.
Sources say Pacioretty's staying in Washington. See, told you. I didn't have any sources. I just went, nah. There you go.
Bear seems to enjoy this. Yeah, anytime she can be held or can lay on a person.
It's to the point now where if Yvonne comes into the room, she assumes, oh, this is the time when I can cry to dad and get picked up. So she starts bugging me right away. Although
and it's
now,
funny, if I talk to her, she runs over to me and meow.
There's times with hockey games where I start watching hockey and she's like, no. And she'll come over to be like, pick me up. And I'm like, no, I'm watching. No, you need to just pick me up or go to bed because this is stupid.
Hold me.
I've had enough.
You need to hold me now.
Yeah.
Coastin move and Bergeron being called up may be related. Stevie didn't like the offers, so he's trying to make Bergeron happy about not being up top.
I think that's a good move for them. I think Bergeron's a good player. I'm honestly kind of surprised how long he's been in Grand Rapids. It's a Detroit tradition, though, dating back to the days of, 25 years ago with Ken Holland and whatnot. They over-ripen their prospects at the AHL level. Detroit's been known to do that.
Awesome channel. Kings make any moves, and can they get past the Oilers this time?
Nothing from the Kings as of yet. They were rumored to be in on Toffoli. Didn't happen. Toffoli ends up going to the Jets.
Hey.
I don't think the Kings need to do a lot.
Would you like to get down?
If they're going to beat the Oilers, if that's your first round matchup, Talbot out to play Skinner. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that over a full 7-game series, but it'll be interesting because, of course, Talbot was an Oilers goaltender at one time too.
Thoughts on the Canes' addition of Kuzi and Gensel? Do you think we'll move Kotkaniemi? I have a feeling we will.
If they move Kotkaniemi, it'll be this summer. I would think this summer's the best time to make a move if they're going to do that because the cap's going up. He's still young. He can still develop, but clearly that hasn't worked out the way Carolina wanted it to. And it's too bad because he had a really strong start to the season.
Do you want down? Yeah. Oh, my arm. It's a long time. Is there a worse contract duo than
Engvall and
Mayfield?
Yeah, there are definitely some worse ones out there. There's times where I'm looking through Cap Friendly and I'm like, wait, those two guys put together $11 million. And I've thought about doing videos on that. So yeah, that's a video idea that maybe it's time for me to do that and just find the two contracts on each team that you add them up and it adds up to how much, that kind of thing, because that could be kind of funny.
Where do you guys store all the boards? Everywhere.
Here, there.
So yeah, there's a stack right here. There's a stack right there. We do have the huge boards are in the garage.
Mostly.
And then we have a couple in our bedroom behind the door.
Yeah. And then I've got a couple more coming. So
we have boards everywhere. billboards everywhere. We need to get rid of a few that are.
I have to get rid of the
scratched
ones
up.
that are ugly.
When the Leafs inevitably get knocked out, does Dubas or Shanahan go, or both?
Dubas is in Pittsburgh. If the Leafs fire Pittsburgh's GM, I'd be shocked. They're not going to fire the GM. Tree Living won't go, but Shanahan may feel some heat. I mean, for the Leafs, it's interesting because I can't remember a team that's been this good for this long that just hasn't had any playoff success at all. None. Closest I can think of is like the mid to late 80s Capitals. Closest I can come. And even then, they had a run to the conference final. I think it was 1990. So, yeah, it's unusual.
Do you like the Canes getting Kuzi, and who gets Nick Dowd?
Is Dowd getting traded? Because like Dowd's a player that if he's healthy, he would attract a lot of interest. Dowd's having a very good season, but I don't know if he gets moved because he's not healthy right now.
Shanahan's contract expires in 25.
So I mean, you can let him go a year early if you're not happy about the direction of the team, if you don't trust in the Shanna plan.
Leafs can't match the grit of Boston, Tampa, or Florida.
I think they can. You've got Domi, you've got Bertuzzi, you've got Reeves. I don't think grit's the problem in Toronto. I think the fact that everybody just focuses on grit. What's undone Toronto is they can't score when the games get really, really difficult. When you get down to that game 7, they've been shut out. They've been held off the board. They haven't had scoring depth. Scoring depth has been their undoing in the playoffs more than anything else.
Nice, you got a sponsorship from Tim Hortons. I just grabbed myself a tea when I was taking dropping my
all
son
of
off.
Canada is sponsored by Tim Hortons.
I just
eventually our flag will just be
Timmy's
Tim Hortons.
Tea. I don't very often, but every once in a while. Their tea is really good and it's really cheap. So great.
So
sorry.
The pick for Roslovic, it's a 4th round pick to Columbus from New York. If the Rangers reach the Stanley Cup final, it becomes a 3rd round pick.
Great coverage as always. Love you too.
The Oilers are done.
Thank you.
The Oilers are done. Their deadline shopping is complete. And the reactions under that are exactly what you would think they are. Yeah. There we go.
Remember, just because the trade deadline is in a couple minutes doesn't mean we've stopped hearing everything. Some of them take a while.
Okay.
Sometimes we hear some like a half hour to an hour later.
Vegas is acquiring Tomas Hertl from San Jose.
Oh, somebody just asked that too.
Yeah.
Do you think the Devils' struggles were Devils' struggles? Oh, do you think their struggles were Lindy Ruff?
No. I mean, as I said in the video where I talked about Green taking over, unless Travis Green can play goal, I don't see how it's necessarily going to turn things around. Goaltending and inexperienced defense. I think the moves on the blue line last summer sank them. I really do. I think that Tom Fitzgerald deserves a lot of scrutiny for the way that the Devils were put together this year. As much credit as he can get for last year, I think he can get some blame for this year. It hasn't worked out all that well. Let's see what they get for Hertl. Winnipeg Jets. They get Colin Miller. Colin Miller's going from New Jersey to the Jets.
For what?
I don't know. Look, this is what I have. Winnipeg
Why don't
Jets.
you know more than that, Shannon?
Winnipeg Jets go back to New Jersey. Colin Miller moving to the Jets.
And you call yourself the hockey guy, man? Do you think Rob Brindamore will get inducted this year?
I hope so, and you can put him in the Hall of Fame as a player, or you can put him in the Hall of Fame for his coaching record, or both. You could do it with both. So, all right. So Miller's going to the Jets. I'll put a C in front of Miller so people don't think it's a different Miller because there's so many Millers in the NHL.
There are. There's a lot of people complaining about Vegas.
Of course.
Because that's what happens when Vegas is mentioned.
Vegas is picking up hurdles, so everybody's going to have a normal one about it.
Oh, no, that's why I'm seeing all this about LTIR in Vegas. And you guys know that if they were actually cheating this system, that the teams would be saying something, right?
They all do it.
I know.
They all do it.
But people still complain and talk about how Vegas gets around stuff. Well, so that they have like
Mark Stone. Mark Stone is such a good team guy. He lacerated his spleen so they'd have a good trade.
But according to the comments section, he'll be in the playoffs.
He lacerated his spleen. Now that's a team guy that you go to him and go, now look, we want to injure one of your organs. We're going to fix it, but we're going to injure one of your organs so we can have a really good trade deadline. Yeah. Some 4D chess right there.
You're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Pain in Sharks. They have really nice jerseys, so you've got that going for you.
You can die from a lacerated spleen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know.
If he's back for round 1, you take it back. All right.
Or his injury just ends up healing. Anyways.
Roddy becoming the coach in Carolina changed the culture. We owe him a lot for what he's done for the Canes so far.
Yeah. Rod Brindamore is he's trending towards being the most respected coach in the NHL. He's getting there.
Thank you for being the only sane person, RE Vegas.
I don't like, I get it. I get why people get mad, but like, he's hurt. Stone's dealt with injuries throughout most of his career. He's hurt.
What does that sound? Are you talking about? It sounds like ripping cardboard. There's
rabbits are chewing on cardboard. They're big Sharks fans, so they're not happy either. They're big Sharks fans.
It's Cinnabon. Yeah. She really likes to tear apart cardboard. It's her favorite pastime. And there's like cardboard. It's like those little cat houses. The bunnies love the cat houses. So do the cats. So, but that's the sound of her tearing it up. The deadline has approached.
Well, deadline's officially
You have
passed.
to admit the timing is always suspect a little bit.
But there's other teams that go through it too.
Right.
Like I understand the LTIR concerns, but Stone's their best player. Like Stone is their best two-way forward. He's one of the best two-way forwards in the game. If I was going to convince somebody in the Vegas Golden Knights to get hurt so I have cap relief, it's not going to be Mark Stone. It's going to be somebody who's overpaid and plays a lesser role than Stone.
Vegas is the new Tampa.
Yep.
Oh, here's an Yvonne quote. Blah, blah, blah. Yvonne, 2024. That's what Shannon says. Yeah, there you go. See, there you go. You're welcome. See, at least I give a nice balance.
Well, you didn't notice I wrote it on the board.
I didn't, because I can't read the board. The screen I see, and I can't see anyways.
No,
I think you guys know my eyes are awful.
Yeah,
my vision's terrible. You guys are lucky I can read the comments as well as I can.
So, like, if they ever make a Muppet out of you, you'd have to have, like, the googly eyes.
Thanks.
Have to be a googly-eyed Muppet.
I'm really glad that glasses with prisms aren't really thick like they were when I was younger.
Oh, no, your Muppet will have thick glasses.
So glad.
Your Muppet's going to have the big old
thick
Coke bottle glasses.
Are so much thinner now.
Yeah.
When I was in university, I tried contacts. I still couldn't see. So glasses it is. It's fun. Okay. Do you think Brad Treliving was at Boston Pizza with his phone off or something? He did nothing.
Well, see, this is where, like, you notice that he made deals prior to the deadline. They're getting Timmins back into the lineup pretty quickly here. Again, I don't know which of the players that were available at the deadline would have necessarily turned things around for Toronto.
No one wants Tyson Barrie?
No, I'm not surprised that Barrie, to this point, and remember, we're past the deadline officially, but there's still the potential that trades haven't been announced yet. So there still could be trades that come out and get announced. But yeah, Barry, his value isn't very high. I think that's probably why he was mad about being sat out so much by Nashville. How can he get traded? How can he have his value when he's not playing? So it's probably his perspective on that. He's probably not happy he hasn't been moved.
Do we know what they got in the trade for Hurdle yet?
No, it's pending the trade call, so the trade call's going through. Bob McKenzie apparently broke this one. So McKenzie comes out of retirement for trade deadline day and draft day. Someday that'll be me. I'll just retire and you guys will see me coming out for draft day and trade day. And I'd still do all the previews, the reviews, and I'd still do news videos.
I know you would.
But outside of that, I'd be retired. So,
which is not retired at all.
I don't want to retire.
I know.
What's the point? I just sit outside all day. Sit around, be retired.
Whatever. I'd try and
I'd have to get a rocking chair, and you have to bring my rocking chair then. Not going anywhere without my chair.
Who is most likely to miss the playoffs, Tampa or Vegas?
Right now, Tampa. Right now, I would say Tampa, and I only say that because the Islanders have heated up. There are some teams below the playoff line in the East that are capable. I don't know if Seattle is probably the most dangerous of the teams in the West below the playoff line. I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough to pass Vegas, but it's possible.
Retirement is nonsense. I think Shannon would go crazy.
Mainly, yeah.
He has to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I've been busy my whole life, so the idea of just sitting around not doing anything, nah. No, thank you.
The one fax machine at Central is earning its worth right now. That'd be weird if they still used a fax machine.
Probably a dial-up modem, and they can't call through because they're already dealing with faxes.
Somebody's on the phone. Get off
oh
the
my
phone.
Gosh, what is this? You guys using dial-up?
I can still picture that sound.
I have to do that the next time I do a Bettman phone call.
The fact that the Devils are sellers right now is embarrassing.
Well, sellers on some level, but you don't pick up Jake Allen because you've decided you're not going to try to push for the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to push for the playoffs. Obviously, since that was my Stanley Cup pick before the season started, I've learned my lesson. I won't be making that mistake again. But yeah, New Jersey, it feels like they're kind of not full on selling because you don't pick up Allen if you're selling.
Have we talked about the Gensel deal? I just tuned in.
The Gensel trade went through last night. So I did the video on the Gensel trade last night. I do think that there's some risk for Carolina in terms of just how much they gave up. But I think it's a smart move for both teams. Pittsburgh had it where it was an arms race as to who was going to get him. And Carolina had the best bid. I don't blame Vancouver for not being willing to make a bigger offer than that. I don't think Vancouver trading that many assets for one player who's going to be a rental, I don't think it would make any sense.
Retirement just means you don't have to be someplace. Shannon doesn't have to be someplace.
I technically don't have to do videos. I could just tonight decide,
do you know how many messages I would get? There was that one day.
The one day I was sick.
Video didn't come out till like 10 o'clock. And I got so many messages wondering what was wrong. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine if you waited till like noon. Okay, people would be showing up at our door even though nobody knows where we live.
Yeah, David Savard. David Savard's not being moved. He's not going anywhere. So Savard stays in Montreal.
How can people say the Panthers are dirty when Pietrangelo tried to cut off Leon Draisaitl's hands in the playoffs?
Every single team is called dirty by every single fan base at some point in time. I always find it remarkable because I watch all the games. And so I'm always surprised when I see the comments in the reviews of this team's really dirty. I'm thinking, that's weird because I've never seen that accusation in all their other games. It just, incidents happen. There's players that are going to ride close to that line. I don't see Pietrangelo as a dirty player either. Was it a bad play? Absolutely a bad play. But in general, not a dirty player.
If I didn't have to read children's writing, that super chat would be very difficult to read. But I'm used to reading my daughter's writing, and she does not like spaces. So,
what's my revised Stanley Cup matchup? If the playoffs started today, Florida and Colorado. But when the playoffs start, I'll make an official pick. We'll see how it goes.
Did D'Angelo go to the Leafs or no?
Tony D never never got moved today. He cleared waivers. He's gone to the minors as far as I know.
But all the other teams are dirty except for mine.
If I could put one 1994 Canuck for the current team, who would I pick? So if I could take one Canuck from 1994 to now, Linden. The 1994 Linden on this current Canucks team, yeah. He was versatile forward. He could play all three forward positions, play up and down the lineup. He never shied away from physicality, tough as nails. Yeah, Linden would be the guy.
Thoughts on the Kings not making any moves?
The Kings didn't really need to make any moves. I think they're a decent enough team as is that they could win with what they have. I understand that, I would imagine that Rob Blake wanted to make some moves at the deadline. I just don't think that what was out there was what they were looking for. A lot of the names on this board are secondary names. Like Hurdle being moved is not a secondary name, but a lot of them are.
The question said without not Bure, so that's why Shannon didn't say Bure,
right?
Because there were a few people. What? Thoughts on Kessel signing?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at no Kessel signing. However, it does not necessarily mean that we won't find out he did sign before 12. Because that's the thing. You just have to make sure that it's done. The trades, the signings are done before 12. Maybe it hasn't come out yet. Or maybe he just wasn't in good shape.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes we hear like a half hour to an hour later. Yeah. Wasn't there one we heard like 2 hours after the fact? Sometimes it takes a little while.
Okay, so the trade appears to be Hurdle in exchange for a first and a third in 2025, a third in 2027, and David Edstrom, who was a first-round draft pick by Vegas in 2023. Huh.
All right. If Detroit finds a way to re-sign Raymond, Cedar, and Kane and have money left over, who would be targets in FA to put them in cup conversation next year?
If Sam Reinhart hits the market, go for Sam Reinhart. If they have the cap space, go for Sam Reinhart. I know he's having a career year, but at the very least, he's a 30 to 35 goal scorer next year wherever he lands. So I think Reinhart would be a fantastic pickup.
Like Detroit moves, trust the Yzer plan. Let's go Red Wings.
Yeah, I do trust the Yzer plan. I've trusted it the whole way through, though.
Seems like a lot. That sounds steep. They were fleeced. There's a lot of those. It's a horrible trade.
Hurdle, honestly, I don't know. I don't see it. Like, I know last year San Jose said that San Jose's only untouchable was Hurdle, and I kept thinking, why would he be an untouchable? He's a good top six forward, but again, if Vegas is looking to win the Stanley Cup, I don't know if Mantha, Hanifin, and Hurdle get them there. There's still no Mark Stone in the mix. Hurdle's been hurt too, so we'll see.
What should Blackhawks do to build around Bedard?
They're going to get a really good draft pick this year, and then from there, you can entice a couple of free agents to come in and play with Bedard this coming summer. They're going to have cap space for that. And yeah, if they can build a good line with Bedard for next season, that'd be great, because he's had nights where it looks like he's kind of playing by himself out there.
Biggest going for 2 times cap space, number 1 cheaters. Not how it works.
They're the number 2 wild card team, and they are really trending in the wrong direction. So they needed to make big trades. They needed to make some big trades, or they were going to miss the playoffs.
Again, if they were cheating, the other teams would say something.
Teams wouldn't be dealing with them.
Right. So that's not how it works.
Why
and they're not
the
only team that goes over the cap. It's not how it works.
I've gone over that.
Did the Rangers do enough? What?
Frank is saying that the Bruins were potentially looking at a deal to move Ullmark to the Kings, and it didn't happen. So there you go. That was where it. See, there you go. That would make sense if Ullmark was like, I don't want to go to LA because.
Right.
There you go.
Did the Rangers do enough?
I think the Rangers, as they're built, they're good enough to contend for a cup and potentially win one. I don't think they needed to do very much. So I think Ruhwedel's a solid addition. I think Wenberg's a good addition for them up front. I think they'll be fine. And Roslovic is maybe a good low-key signing too.
Vegas fan, and I appreciate the hate. Love your channel. It's my first watch every morning.
Thank you. And I get it. Like I remember back in 2011 when Vancouver went to the final. I know the idea would probably be, oh, Canada was probably cheering for Vancouver to win the cup. No, Canada didn't want that Vancouver Canucks team to win the Stanley Cup. Canadians really kind of looked at that Stanley Cup final and said, well, we don't like Boston, we don't like Vancouver, so what else is on? That seemed to be the feeling. Although then that series ended up being one of the most hotly contested, vicious series, and it became must-watch TV for most, while I got frustrated with how ugly it was. But yeah, I remember when Vancouver wasn't a very popular team, even though Canada's team, no, they'll never be a Canada's team because there'll always be fans that say, I don't want to cheer for that team. Heck with them.
Wish the Sabres did more.
I think it's a matter of, like, I remember looking through who the pending UFAs were earlier in the year and thinking this deadline's not going to be fantastic because there's not that many guys who are UFAs who are intriguing and could make a big difference on another team. And of those players that would be intriguing and make a big difference, those are the ones that were very unlikely to be traded. So it's just a matter of the market.
Power Rank Max here. How about top 5 deadline moves?
I could do a video on that. Obviously, Ron Francis by the Pittsburgh Penguins would have to be one of the top 5 moves that I've seen. Butch Goring was the original that started this whole trade deadline frenzy because Goring goes from the Kings to the Islanders, and then they win 4 straight Stanley Cups, and Goring was a huge part of why.
Shannon, besides Datsuk and Zetterberg, who else makes the Hall of Fame class of 24? I don't have Marleau making it due to Thornton being eligible next year.
No, I think they'll put Marleau in. I don't think they'll worry about when Thornton's eligible. I'd like to see McGillney get in. For the love of all that's holy, I don't understand. McGillney should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. Please put McGillney in the Hall of Fame. Please.
A lot of people guessing on things.
Oh, of course.
5-Finger Death Punch with Marilyn Manson this summer. Are you stoked?
We saw Marilyn and we were not stoked.
I wish.
If we could get a guarantee he'd be sober.
But that was so disappointing. That was the most disappointing concert I've ever been to because I was so excited.
Yeah.
And he was so bad.
Yeah. Thankfully, Rob Zombie was a headliner and he was so fantastic.
Bad. I've seen 5-Finger twice. Yeah. But they have 2 different members now, so that would be different.
It would be different.
They're good live though. They're fun. But Marilyn Manson, I wish he was good live.
I like what Florida did over the last few days. I would say Florida had a really good trade deadline. Really good trade deadline.
Thoughts on Avalanche? No goaltender? No problem.
Georgiev's a good goaltender. We've seen good goaltenders win Stanley Cups. Antti Niemi in Chicago is an example. I think Aiden Hill in that run for Vegas last year, I think it may have shown some GMs, hey, you don't have to have necessarily the best goalie, just the best goalie right now. And so that's what you have to hope for, and fingers crossed.
Did we get enough for the return on Hurdle? I'm sad. I see a lot of people are not very happy about that one.
I think the Sharks probably did the best they could with that contract being what it is, and with the injury status of Hurdle being what it is as well. It is tough for San Jose, but again, it's part of the process. It does free up some money this summer. They could go out and start making things a little better for the fans. I think they need to, because look at that attendance. Yikes. But I mean, I will be going over the Hurdle trade in its own video. That definitely deserves its own video when we're done the live stream here. So stay tuned for that.
Is time up for the Coyotes or what?
I defended Arizona for as long as I could. I think it's time. I think they've been looking for a building for a long while. I think that eventually that patience has to come to a halt, and I think we're there. So I know they're still looking at a parcel of land. I know Coyotes fans don't like hearing me talk like that, but I do think that it's time for the NHL to make up its mind.
Sharks retained 87% of his salary. That seems like a lot.
No, that's why you get first round draft picks. It runs for a long time too, so it is a lot.
I've been defending Mike Greer for a while, but this has to be the last straw. This man is in over his head.
Well, we may hear some details on Hurdle's move after. So I'm not gonna say anything negative towards Greer on this deal at this point. And we'll see how it all pans out. Remember, when he traded Timo Meier, lots of people were like, "Oh, this trade's terrible for the Sharks." It's actually aged pretty well. The Meier trade's aged pretty well for the Sharks. It's aged more poorly on the New Jersey side. So this is why I don't like to declare winners and losers on trade deadline day.
Do the Red Wings trade Petrie before the day is over, him or another defenseman?
The deadline's passed. So if he was going to get traded, it would have already come out. It looks like the Hurdle trade's the last one. Connor Dewar's gone to Toronto. So Connor Dewar went to Toronto right at the deadline, I guess. So Connor Dewar. Dewar's a good depth pickup. You know Dewar from Minnesota. They traded Duhaime yesterday to Colorado too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no Duhaime and no Dewar.
What if Kaharski did have another donut?
He still would have had problems with Jim Schoenfeld. Wouldn't have mattered.
San Jose got 2 first and
Edstrom for
Hurdle, and we couldn't get an unconditional first for Jake.
P.S. It's 17% retained, not 83%.
Okay, that makes way more sense. I don't think you
can retain more than half.
That sounds.
I don't think you can retain more than half. That's why they have the third parties they go through in these trades.
To do that, because then you're still.
I don't think you can retain.
You wouldn't
more
have
than
the
half.
player, but you'd still paying for him.
Yeah.
Did Edmonton not make a move because Holland didn't leave any cap space?
That's part of it. That's part of why a lot of the moves that we'd like to see don't get done at trade deadline, which should change next year because that salary cap's going way up. It's not like all the GMs are just going to spend that extra money, right?
That was Bear meowing. Yes, because she's not being held. Shannon made eye contact, so
I didn't even make eye contact before the first meow.
You just did.
I did.
That was to get your attention, and then you looked at her.
Oh my gosh, kitty!
You poor kitty. Are you neglected? See, she meows and she goes right to my feet because she knows that mom picks her up. Huh? Okay.
Crazy cat.
You have to get on your spot.
Tidge Aginla is ranked number 14 prospects. Do the Flames take him? I'd be very surprised if they don't. And I also would not be surprised to see him ranked higher by the time the season's done. Looks like he's going to be a real player in the National Hockey League.
Trade value for the kitty. Bear doesn't like anybody else.
No.
She likes the two of us. She's okay with Adelaide. Okay, you're making her stand on me now. Oh my gosh. Shannon.
Hi.
Shannon. Oh my
Good
gosh.
Kitty.
Okay. Okay.
Good kitty.
No. Okay,
Good
we're not.
kitty.
Thank you, Shannon. Oh my goodness.
What is
See
it?
what you did?
What's up with the cat?
Where?
I wish our cats would let us hold them. They don't all. She wants to be held all the time. Shadow has his moods where he would really like to be held. That's about it. Azrael wants to be held, but for very short amounts of time.
I think
Maple and Pixel don't.
I think Dallas is fine. Yeah, I think Dallas is fine. Hopefully Tanev helps to get that blue line going. I do have concern with Ottinger. I do have concern with Ottinger over a 7-game series with how inconsistent he's been this season. I think the goals are going to be there. I think their blue line's really good. I have concerns with Ottinger.
Bear definitely has claws because she's a cat. She does okay though. She's pretty good at keeping her claws in.
Yeah, Hurdle is expected to be back before the playoffs.
Will Crosby get traded today?
Nope.
How many hours until the deadline?
Deadline passed 25 minutes ago. So the deadline is passed. Any trades that were going to be made have been made. And so now it's up to me to go through and disseminate these and make videos and go over who got what for what. But there was no real blockbuster outside of Hurdle, who again is currently on IR. So he just moves to Vegas's IR from San Jose's.
What does on waivers mean?
On waivers is it's a system the NHL has in place where a player who's got a certain amount of experience or is a certain age, before they're sent to the minors, they are put on the waiver wire where any team can put in a bid. The team that wins the bid is decided by reverse standings. So the team at the bottom of the league gets the first crack at whoever's on the waiver wire. The team at the top of the league gets the final chance to put in a claim. Sometimes there's multiple claims. And again, if there's multiple claims, the team towards the bottom of the standings gets that waiver wire pickup.
Any thoughts on the Caps' young players? They looked really good last night.
I like McMichael a lot. He's developed slowly. I don't know if they have a top-end scorer amongst their young players. We'll see. But I like Protas. I think Malenstein is underrated. Yeah, we'll see how it goes for them. I do think that they need a premier scorer now that Ovechkin's winding down.
We just passed 1,000 likes on this video.
All right. Thank you guys so much for hitting the like button over 1,000 times. I think most of it's for Bear, though.
True.
So take your bow, sweetie.
She's purring. Does that count?
She's a happy cat.
She is. So unless or until the NHL sets a playoff cap, which they probably won't do unless a Canadian team does what Vegas and sometimes Tampa, etc. does, we get what we get.
Well, Toronto's been accused of it as well. Toronto guys end up on LTIR, and I think they have $14.5 million on LTIR right now, and it's legit for Toronto. It's legit, but there are teams that use LTIR. Montreal's got Carey Price on LTIR for the rest of that contract, so that's $10.5 million right there. I don't think it's going to change because I don't think the owners necessarily care. They got their hard cap. That's all they wanted. They wanted their hard salary cap.
Oh, how old is Bear?
She's 10. She's 10 years old.
Her and Shadow are 10. Pixel is 9. And Azrael and Maple are 1.
They're about to turn 2.
They are.
Kitty.
Time to update the whiteboard. We'll finish in not too long.
Yeah.
And then he'll do a video.
Yep. I'll be doing multiple videos once we're done here, and then the games start at 6 o'clock. So I have to do my treadmill right away and get ready for the games. Because
should the Stars be worried about Jake?
I would be surprised if they're not at least a little bit concerned about Ottinger. I think that maybe a little bit of rest, give Wedgwood a couple of starts might be the right move, or just have them play through it. We'll see how they handle it. We'll see how Pete DeBoer handles it. But, yeah, there should at least be some concern.
More Bear, less Shannon.
I'd be fine with that. I just don't know how she would.
Hockey cats.
I don't know how she would handle the whiteboards, and she doesn't speak very. No, if you're gonna have a bath, I'm gonna put you down. What's the rule about bathing? You don't have a bath while I'm holding you. Because then you get kitty spittle all over, and it's just
Vegas is about to repeat. Let's go.
Vegas needs a lot to repeat. Like they've looked bad. They looked bad last night too against Vancouver. They didn't have that pushback they used to have. And that's the thing. Vegas, I keep expecting pushback that hasn't been happening in their games this year, which is unusual for them. So since the 11-0-1 start they got off to, I think it was 11-0-1, they've been actually a little below 500. So yeah, that fast start definitely it hides the fact that Vegas has been remarkably mediocre throughout the season.
Please stop talking about the Cats.
I like the Panthers. I think they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup this year.
If you don't want to hear about cats, you're on the wrong channel.
This is more of a
Sorry.
cat channel than a hockey
Yeah,
channel.
it's
I've been
true.
told that.
It's true.
It's the cat channel, and just this
It's
guy
true.
standing in front of a whiteboard getting in the way of the cats.
People watch this channel for the cats.
Cats watch this
You can get
channel for the
hockey
cats.
anywhere, but cats.
Right.
We also have bonus buns.
Yep, rabbits.
Talk more about the cats. There you go. See, you're our kind of people. Please talk about the cats. Love the cat channel.
Coyotes did not trade Schmaltz. Schmaltz is still there. They did trade Dumba, so they traded Zucker as well. But outside of that, the Coyotes keep things pretty much together.
More kitties and bunnies. Aren't they great? More cat content. See, the people have spoken.
Argument with that.
Just since we have a lot of people in this live stream, the cats and the buns have an Instagram channel. Or an Instagram page.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see more pictures of cats, I'm not
rabbits.
always the best at posting pictures. I try and remember, but it's THG cats, and there's pictures of cats and buns, and every once in a while the guinea pigs.
Yep.
So there you go. Haven't seen the piggies yet though. They're upstairs, and they don't like being held as long. So we've had a piggy in a video before, haven't we?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure we have. And cats and rabbits can't post on Instagram. I don't know. Have you met Maple? She's pretty skilled. She is. Is this the year a Canadian team breaks the curse? Watching from the UK. Love the show.
I hope so. It'd be nice not to have to talk about the curse anymore. The Oilers, I think, have a realistic chance. I could see the Jets doing it. It'd be great if Winnipeg did it, considering all the storyline around the Jets this year. I think it'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Could absolutely happen.
That would help their attendance too.
Vancouver's in the mix. I don't know about a cup, but I mean they're at least winning. They should have home ice in the first round. There's a good chance that maybe a Canadian team will break through and break that curse. And of course, Toronto will be there. I know the laughter it causes, but maybe this year they break through.
More rabbits. Do need more bun content. They're kind of adorable.
They are.
Licorice is still asleep in the exact same position that he was when we started this live stream. Yeah. He has not come over here because he's still asleep.
Yeah.
Why do you always hate the Jets in the power rankings? Yeah, Shannon. Why do you hate the Jets so much?
I don't.
Why do you hate the Jets
I have no emotional anything when I do the power rankings. There's times where I'm like, they're number one. I've done that where I've been like, that team's number one this week. What's happening? Why? It's just there's no emotional anything that goes into the power rankings. It's just these are the teams I feel are playing the best right now, and that's that. And every day I update it. Right now the power rankings are completely different than they were. For instance, last week Seattle was number 21. This week, right now, they're number 16. So
Bear is at the floor staring at Shannon, waiting for him to make eye contact. Only here for the cats. Hockey's okay, I guess. Right? See, we get told that too, that they come to see the cat channel, and every once in a while I hear about hockey.
Yep.
Hey, you guys are the best with the Flyers beating teams like Florida, Tampa, etc., etc. Will they be a dangerous out in playoffs if they get in?
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt that if the Flyers get into the playoffs, they're going to be an absolute pain in the you-know-what to get out of the playoffs. That's a John Tortorella coach team that's been playing playoff hockey all year. It's physical. It's shot blocking, shot suppression. It's remarkable. They're really a hardworking team that would not be an easy out in the playoffs.
Shannon specifically hates the team that I cheer for and no other team.
Every week it's a different team.
All of the teams. Shannon hates all of the teams. That's why he does this channel and watches all of the games, because he hates so many of the teams. That's why he does it.
Every day I'm so angry. I'm like, why did I choose this life?
This game is stupid.
This is dumb.
Do you like A&W? Who doesn't?
Everybody does.
Right?
She likes A&W. She agrees. Right, Kitty? Yeah? Okay.
I hate the teams Shannon cheers for, so it evens out. Went to a cat stream and a hockey stream broke out.
What? No, not right now, sweetie.
Did PLD trade to Boston fall through?
I never heard anything about Dubois going to Boston. There's apparently an Ullmark trade that could have happened to LA, but that did fall through. I really, the idea of Boston trading Ullmark to me is just bonkers, because you need to have 3 goalies in the NHL if you're going to make a move like you'd have to have somebody who's a reliable backup, and you have to have a situation where if something happens to your starting goaltender, you're not panicking. And if they traded Ullmark and then Swayman got hurt, I'd be panicking. So I'm glad Ullmark didn't get traded.
What's with the sniffles? I'm allergic to everything, and when we do live streams, we have to turn off the air filter.
Yeah.
So
it's allergies.
I'm allergic to everything, and if you saw, I was holding the cat for quite a while, which does not help. I am also allergic to our animals.
Yeah, I have allergies too, that I end up sneezing a lot in here. Sometimes.
I took extra allergy meds before we started because I knew we wouldn't be able to have the air filter on. So this is my less allergies. Sniffly and my eyes water and my throat sounds terrible. So
she gets nervous around me too because she thinks I'm really cute. So she gets nervous.
That's true. He's super cute. I mean, everybody knows.
Oh my gosh,
you're so warm too.
Oh wow,
I thought you were the cat guy and cat
Frozen.
Lady.
Frozen. She's definitely a cat lady.
When I met Shannon online, and his username, whenever it was cat guy.
Yep.
So.
Because at that point I'd given up. I'd been told women won't go for a guy who has cats. And you have to drive a pickup, and you got to get new clothes. You got to wear your flannel. And I was like, I'm not doing any of that. So
that would not.
No.
See, and whenever I'd see those pictures of the guys leaning against their truck, and nope, those are the ones that I would.
You could just hear the Ford commercial.
Turn on some country music, and nothing
Dodge
against
Ram
country music
trucks.
other than I can't stand it. But yeah. Have you ever been to a game at the Saddle Dome?
No, sadly I haven't. I'd love to before they close it up. I think that'd be a great one to see.
What?
What's your problem?
She hasn't been held enough today.
You're fine.
This really is all day. For those of you that have been watching the whole stream, this is all day.
So all day when I'm watching hockey games, and she'll sit at my feet. And so I'm going back and forth between boards, and I'm tripping over her. And I'm like, you can't be there. So I'll put her on the cat tree. I'll say, no, stay there. And I'll even give her a couple of treats and say, no, stay there. And then she's right back at my feet meowing 2 seconds later. And it's like, no, that's not. Give me those treats back, because you're not doing what you were told to do.
Need a Canadian tuxedo to get the girls.
Flames still have one trade in the queue. How? It's almost an hour after the trade deadline. I
can remember one year there was a trade that came in. It felt like 2 hours later. It took a while for us to get it. So
what
I know
trade?
It's happened before. I remember it happened once before. Got to get that cat a jersey. Have you seen how easily jerseys snag? I don't think that would work very well.
Well, she's got snags on yours.
Did you snag mine? Yeah. Oh, I got a tiny, tiny one.
Yeah. That's why I don't hold her when I'm wearing jerseys very much.
She usually does pretty good.
That's why I hold her the way I do, because I know you.
The deadline already passed 40 minutes ago.
Yep. So apparently the Flames have a trade in the queue. Again, it's probably because they have dial-up internet and they're waiting for Gary to get off the internet.
Yeah, somebody remembers when there was the trade that came in really late. Better not be Markstrom.
No, it's not going to be Markstrom. If Markstrom was getting moved, there'd be all kinds of speculation. My guess is it's probably not going to be a huge one, because New Jersey picked up Allen, so I don't think it's going to be Markstrom.
Domi trade a couple years ago was delayed. Also,
yeah, it does happen.
If any place was still on dial-up, it'd be the Saddle Dome. I've heard stories about the Saddle Dome.
Yeah, the Saddle Dome's an interesting one.
Phil Kessel didn't get signed by Vancouver.
Nope. He must not be in enough shape, or they can't figure out where he'd fit in the lineup. It's got to be one or the other.
Oh, Night Hecka.
Night Hecka, thanks for coming out.
Somebody loves you. There you go. Good now. Somebody loves you.
I thought you did.
Well,
You've been lying to me this whole time. I knew you were using me for the jerseys.
that's it. That's the plan.
I knew it.
I'm just in it for all the jersey hand-me-downs.
Okay, so Vegas Golden Knights, their first round picks, 2018, Cody Glass, Nick Suzuki, Eric Brandstrom, all traded. 2019, Peyton Krebs, traded. 2020, Brendan Brisson, he's on the team. 2021, Zach Dean, traded. 2022, they traded it. 2023, David Edstrom, just got traded. They still have the one for this year. They traded next year's, and they traded 2026 as well. So that's a lot of first round picks that Vegas has either not used or traded pretty quickly after they used it.
Too many pogos for Kessel. Like he wanted too many, but he needed too many and they weren't willing to offer that many, or
Probably had to be in the contract and they're like, nah, it's too much.
Somebody's asking about ESPN Plus.
It's American. I can't sign up for it while I'm in the States because I don't have an American credit card or an American address. So I haven't used ESPN Plus. The ESPN feeds on this side of the border in Canada are usually the ones that my NHL Center Ice has a problem with, where I might miss the whole first period of a game. But Sportsnet Plus seems to get those okay, which is weird because you would think if the feed works on one, it should work on the other, but not always. So it's glitchy. The one thing I do like with ESPN Plus, and I don't know if you guys have this in the States, but without commercials, because I don't have any commercials on it, sometimes they leave the microphones on for the announcers, and
That's
you can hear them
funny.
talking to each other during the commercial break, or you can hear them setting up the interview, and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to ask you this, and then I'm going to ask you this, okay? Then they interview the player, then they come back from commercial, and then they do the interview, and I'm like, yeah, I heard that twice. So, yeah, it's weird.
THG Cats for the win.
They're sweet cats. I think it's nice that my cats are internet famous. If somebody had told me I'd make cats internet famous, I probably would have believed that. And then if somebody said, well, you're going to be internet famous, I would have said, nah, no, thank you. Probably not.
Now they're discussing ESPN Plus. So there you go. Bolts fan, what do you think about the Dumba trade?
Matt Dumba this year in Arizona has been physical. He's been better lately, I think, than how he started. He had a rough start to the season. The offense hasn't been there, but maybe the offense will be there in Tampa Bay. Maybe that'll help him offensively. Afternoon, Andy.
And thank you very much for your super chat.
Thank you so much.
Did you add DeWar on the board for Toronto?
Yep, Dewar's right there. So Dewar, Dumba, and then the ones in black are the waiver wire pickups. So Lagesson to Anaheim, Bjornfoot to Florida, Kachuk to Ottawa, and yeah, we're going to see the rosters lock in basically at this point.
Costs $30 a month for MSG Plus to watch the Rangers. Seems like a lot.
That is a lot.
That seems like a lot. $30 a month. That's a lot.
I think the ESPN, or not ESPN,
the
TSN and Sportsnet, I think the packages are $15.99 a month for us.
I don't know. The center
both.
ice we pay.
The center ice is like $149 at the start of the year, just as a one price.
Right. And
then my Sportsnet Plus, I think, is $100 on top of that. But I'm glad I have both services. It has actually come in handy with the amount of games that can be on at the same time. Having both services works.
After winning 5 straight with all 4 lines clicking, does it make sense that the Isles stood pat not to risk messing up chemistry?
Lou wanted to add he didn't want to subtract anybody. My guess is the players that were out there available for additions, he didn't like the asking price, or he just didn't see how they'd fit in the lineup. I think that teams that stand pat at the deadline, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But I can take a look as the day goes on here and talk about who did what at the deadline. And maybe look back as far as like the Lindholm trade for the Canucks. Canucks didn't get anything done today. But again, I guess they didn't like the market, or the market was too expensive.
Who gets waived to make room for Okposo?
They didn't waive anybody today. I would think that now, of course, they waived Lockwood a while back. They'll waive. I would think it'll be a forward, but for Opozo, I think fans will be happy with Opozo there. I do.
What animals are next to Forky and Gritty? Oh, okay. This is a Canucks dragon, and that's the
mascot for the Wranglers
thing.
Blasty.
For the Wranglers.
Blasty.
I'm trying to see if you can see anything else on
And
there.
then this is our Paul Correa, courtesy of the Anaheim Ducks.
Let's see. Yeah, got
My
bobbleheads
Paul Correa
over there.
bobblehead. So thank you to the Ducks for that. That was nice.
Oh, and then there's a little Star Wars guy over there.
The Tauntaun.
And then this is a felted puck from a subscriber. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right behind the dragon, there's a felted puck that a subscriber sent.
Yep.
Yeah. What? What? Have you not been held enough? Have they had enough attention? Where did Bettman go? He's still up there too.
Bettman
he's further back.
Bettman's back here now. So, but he's still up there. He's still there. It's just I like to rotate what's behind me in videos, and so I took the Bettman picture, moved it back for a while.
Will the Coyotes leave Arizona and go to San Diego?
I don't think they go to San Diego. I think the Arizona situation, once it's resolved one way or the other, that's where we'll start hearing about what the expansion plans are. If they find a building and they're able to make it work in Arizona, then we get the expansion to Salt Lake City and Atlanta. If they're not able to work it out, odds are you take the Coyotes and you move them to Salt Lake City, or maybe Houston. Maybe Salt Lake City gets the expansion team instead.
Bear wants more screen time. She does. She wants to be held all the time. She just has to get down every once in a while to go eat. Are you hopeful for Dallas? It's moving. There you go.
For Dallas's streaming service if Bally contract doesn't renew. I would think where we're going to end up is I think all teams are going to be doing their own streaming services. South of the border especially. I don't know if that'll happen in Canada because Sportsnet and TSN Regional I think is pretty stable. But I could see south of the border, anybody who's using the regional broadcast running their own broadcast, and the NHL maybe running it from a central model. I think it can work. I like Arizona's broadcast this year. They've got their own. Pittsburgh's been fine. Pittsburgh runs their own. Vegas as well. It's just really a matter of is it profitable and what's the long-term future with it.
Bear is definitely a diva. You are correct.
Thoughts on the Rangers deadline? I think they did well. I do. I think the Rangers did well. So for the Rangers, Roslovic was added during the live stream. That's the one addition they made during the live stream we're doing here. I've talked about other moves they've made, but now the trade deadline's done, we'll be able to talk about how that looks for them. Okay, so the Flames are grabbing a Hotchik from the Sharks. It's a trade call going through for that. I thought they had to be in the queue at 12 o'clock, though. That's weird. Are they in the wrong queue? How does that work? Hotchik, I think, has been good for the Sharks. I'm mildly surprised that the Flames are picking him up, but at the same time, you want to send the right message to the guys in the room that you're not just throwing in the towel. And, I mean, picking a couple guys up could help for Calgary there.
How do you pick your jerseys for today?
I just thought to myself, I haven't worn Dallas for a little bit here, and Dallas is doing pretty well, so maybe they'll be active today, and nope. So just a big old fat goose egg there. So that didn't work out so well for me.
I was going to wear one of my Vegas hoodies, but then I thought, I'm not wearing Vegas.
And I agreed with her. I was like, yeah, you don't want to wear Vegas.
No. I can't wear
This isn't the day
Vegas
to be wearing
today.
Vegas. And considering the hurdle trade, yeah, probably the best.
Even though Vegas has some fun ones, and
Vegas
I've
has
got some fun Vegas hoodies,
They do.
but I knew better. And then Shannon kind of pointed out this jersey, and I haven't worn this jersey yet. This is our first time wearing this one.
Yep.
I was like, ooh, I like that jersey.
Yep,
so
that's a nice one.
good excuse to wear it. I do really try to not wear Winnipeg a lot because I do. Ottawa getting a new arena next year or 2026?
Well, they'll decide where the arena is going to go. I would think during this year, maybe during the summer, they'll announce something. The new arena, it's going to take a minimum of 3 years from when they break ground to have the new arena in place. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of where Michael Landlauer feels like it'll work best. He's working with the city and with people from the city. So there was definitely a contentious relationship Eugene Melnick had with the city that Landlauer doesn't have. So it should be a pretty smooth sailing situation for them there.
Just wanted to say, keep up the great work and thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, somebody wanted to know the last time you wore the Storm jersey.
I don't wear the Storm jersey very often because the original Tampa Bay Storm jersey, obviously, there's not a whole lot of them. And so I don't want anything to happen to it. So I don't wear it very often. Come playoff time, if they're in the playoffs and they win playoff games, I will absolutely be grabbing that for review videos for that. I like to wear fun ones during the playoffs. So that's usually going to be reverse retros or ugly jerseys. So that qualifies in both categories. So, yeah, you'll probably see that during the playoffs.
Cinnabon is sitting in front of the heater giving herself a bath.
Again.
She's all nice and toasty. She loves being in front of the heater. With players like Crosby and OV, they won cups. Why is it so hard for Oilers to get over the hump? Also, I think they fall short this year.
Depth's been the problem for the Oilers,
why?
too. The Oilers have had that problem with depth, and so that's how it goes. All right, so there's the heater, and there's the rabbit sitting in front of the heater, getting herself nice and warmed up. That's why I can't turn the heater off when she's in front of it, because that's just cute.
She is so cute. She's just having a little bath, right? She's inches from that little space heater.
So I can't turn it off when she's doing that. That's just mean. She heats herself up in front of this one that's behind me in the morning, too, because I have 2 on in the morning to heat it up in here. Why did the Sharks send 2 third-round picks to Vegas?
There you go.
Third-round picks have, I think it's a 12% chance of making it to the National Hockey League. And honestly, it's to get that contract off their books. That contract is an expensive contract for Hurdle. I don't think Hurdle's lived up to that contract. So I think moving on from that contract's a good move for San Jose. I understand fans aren't happy right now, but I think it's the right move for the Sharks when you're looking at the long term. Because Hurdle's not getting younger, and he does tend to get injured. So if you can move that contract, you do it.
Somebody wants to know what Nashville jersey you wore during the power rankings. Did you wear the hideous one? Was that the really ugly one? I know you wore it recently.
I think I wore the mustard.
Really, really ugly one.
I think I wore the mustard.
What's that jersey called besides the really, really ugly one? I thought it had like an actual name.
The mustard meth cat jersey.
Well, I know that's what we call it, but does it have an actual name?
The ugliness.
It is the most, just look up most hideous jersey in the NHL. And I think it'll pop right up.
I think
might be right under the Burger King jersey or right above it. I think it should go above, but is that the hideousness you're talking about?
This is the meth cat.
How?
I love the meth cat. It's so wonderful.
Ugly.
It's so wonderful.
It's something. Do you have any jerseys with players' names on them? Lots.
Oh, of course.
Lots and lots, especially when you get them a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I like getting them with the players' names on the back. They do look better with the names on the back, although sometimes they don't age very well. So when you're getting a jersey, 2 things I would say is piece of advice: get a beloved player you know won't become your version of John Tavares, because I have a bunch of Tavares Islanders jerseys I can't wear, or pick an alumni, pick a guy who hasn't played for a while, and fans aren't going to get mad at you if you're wearing a jersey of a player that played 20 years ago. You're going to get the jersey foul people coming after you a little bit, but just make sure they understand they don't have to wear that jersey. You're wearing it, and you're okay with your foulness.
They didn't buy it, so it's all right.
It's fine. It's not a big deal.
What is the best jersey in hockey altogether? Not the one he just showed you. This jersey's so ugly.
People know what I'm looking for. They know where I'm heading. They know exactly which one
This would be my favorite of all time. There we go.
Bear agrees.
There we go.
Huh? Did you agree, Bear?
Rangers just sent down Rempe and Edstrom. Apparently, a deal for Tuck. I haven't seen anything yet, and yeah, the most recent thing I've seen is a Hochek being taken there by the Flames. I haven't seen anything about that. So, if that's the case.
What country do you think has been the best lately at developing players into NHL players?
The U.S. has become excellent when it comes to their development system is fantastic. Canada needs to. I think part of the reason the CHL is looking at changing things is because the Americans have gotten so good at developing players. Europe is way better at developing goaltenders. The U.S. is way better at developing goaltenders. Canada needs to get better at developing goaltenders than what we've been recently. But yeah, I would say the Americans are developing players the best right now.
With the Western Conference arms race, who goes into playoffs with the strongest roster? Additionally, do you think Shanahan's time is ending?
The strongest roster in the West, I think, is Colorado. I still think the Abs probably have the best roster in the West. Dallas, if they get hot, they could be really, really dangerous. That fight in the Central, whoever ends up being the 2 versus 3 in the Central, that round's going to be insane.
What's your problem? Are you having issues? Yes, Shannon does have a video on ugly jerseys.
Oh, yes.
You're interrupting now. Do you have a Nick Suzuki Vegas jersey?
He never played for Vegas. Yeah. He never played for Vegas. I don't have a Suzuki jersey at all. I'd be willing. I'd be willing to have a Suzuki jersey from Montreal, but I haven't acquired one.
Why do you think the Sens are so bad?
The Sens built a really good young core, but they didn't surround it with the right players, and they've been mediocre. They haven't got a goaltender that can steal games. They haven't had that for some time now, since Craig Anderson, say, back in his peak years. So, yeah, the Sens have some issues they have to address over this summer if they're really going to make that turn and become a playoff team again.
Yes, Shannon will be doing videos, several videos when we are done with the live stream.
Yeah, and we'll be wrapping up the live stream pretty quickly here. The trade deadline, it seems, has passed. The Hochek trade, it looks like it's a 5th from San Jose going to San Jose in exchange, or a fifth from San Jose is going, no, 5th from Calgary is going to San Jose in exchange for a Hochek going to Calgary. There. All right. And Mark-Edward Vlasic tweeted out a picture of the crying face emoji because they traded Hurdle.
A lot of people don't like that one. Thoughts on the Canes deadline? Is it enough this time? Not used to big moves like this. Let's go Canes.
They needed offense. Their problem in the playoffs has been their offense falls apart on them. They definitely acquired some offense with Gensel and Kuznetsov. If they don't do it this year, I don't know when they do.
In your opinion, what was the most electric Stanley Cup final of all time?
It is hard to compete with the 1994 Vancouver Rangers series. That was a great Stanley Cup final. The early 2000s had some really good Stanley Cup finals as well. New Jersey and Dallas, even though that didn't go Dallas's way in 2000, that was a great one. Colorado, New Jersey in 01 was a really good one as well. And that's even though it was dead puck era, but those were still really good Stanley Cup finals as well. And I think recent time, I thought the Pittsburgh-Nashville final was a heck of a lot of fun. It's just too bad that when they got to Pittsburgh, Nashville didn't do as well.
Do you think the Islanders will take Philly's spot in the playoffs?
I think Tampa Bay is more vulnerable than Philly right now. The Flyers just beat Florida last night. So the Flyers are not as vulnerable as the whole media wants to paint them out to be. And they didn't sell today either.
Why is Vegas so unlikable?
I think with Vegas, I think it's that they didn't go through the suffering most expansion teams do. They've also been pretty cutthroat with when they decide we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to get different players. They don't have a problem cutting guys, trading guys for nothing if that's what needs to be done. And they've never worried about cap space. They've just go get it done, whatever the cost. And that's not something that we normally see with hockey teams. So they're definitely different there. And again, I think it's a matter of people don't perceive that Vegas has had the amount of suffering that a team should before they win a Stanley Cup.
Philly doesn't have much to sell.
No, but I think if they were full on sellers at the deadline, we would have seen things handled differently. I don't know if you extend Sealer, if you're looking at actually selling. Sealer probably would have brought them back a pretty good return at the deadline.
Of course, Shannon has a Flying V jersey.
I have the white one or
yellow one.
The yellow one and the black one as well. I have both Flying V jerseys.
And one of the first games that we went to, we had to wear the coordinating hideousness. Shannon wore the yellow one, and I could see him from the other side of the arena.
No, you don't chew the strings. We've been over this. You don't chew the strings.
He doesn't like that there's something hanging off of your jersey.
I know.
Though.
He tries to chew the strings. This is licorice.
Here he is. Why did you overlook best in the West, best goaltender in NHL, and now just added another 30 to 40 goal scorer?
Hurdle's hurt. Hurdle's not a 30 to 40 goal scorer right now. The best in the West is not the number 2 wild card in the West. Vegas has not been the best team in the NHL for a while. Right now in the power rankings, I don't have them in the top half of the board. So yeah, I really think these are panic moves by Vegas as much as anything. Everybody's yelling about cheating. I just look at a team that's really panicking, that doesn't want to fall further down than they already have.
People are enjoying that they saw licorice.
Oh, licorice is
he was done with
the rabbit.
He's busy now.
Yeah.
Are you busy now?
Rabbit. And plus, he was chasing his sister around. So when I pick him up like that, it distracts him from chasing her. Hey, Bun. Now he's kicking his feet.
He's a big brother. He does what all big brothers do. Chases little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Stone and Martinez aren't playing.
Right. And Martinez is their best shot blocker, and Stone's their best defensive forward. And last night against Vancouver, they allowed 35 shots. They're allowing a lot of shots, a lot of prime shots, and it's been kind of rough to watch lately.
Shadow is still asleep.
Yeah, he slept the whole
Maple is in here now. She's sleeping right by Shadow.
Yep.
They're asleep.
Yep. Everybody's sleeping except Bear, who's just chilling.
Licorice and Cinnabon aren't sleeping now. Why
did I overlook Winnipeg? Well, I think Colorado's the best team in the West. It's not overlooking Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg is an excellent team as well. Just I would put Colorado in terms of a team ahead of Winnipeg.
Shannon will be doing videos after this, several videos on trades that happened. Don't worry. We don't expect everybody to watch this whole live stream. That'd be really long.
No, we used to do it that way, and it just didn't work. It's like I used to have the TV on so I could hear it, and then it just didn't work.
It was really
live
hard.
Stream.
Yeah,
I didn't even put the TV on today at all. I've just been using this my Twitter notifications to tell me what's going on. Tree Living says Matthew Nyes is doing really well. Anticipates he'll play Saturday in Montreal, which is good news because last night it looked like he was pretty badly hurt. So it's good news for Toronto.
Thank you, THG, for covering all of today's trades.
No problem. Chicago didn't do anything today that I saw. I don't think Chicago. I mean, they lost Kachuk on waivers, but Kachuk hasn't been playing well. That's why he was on waivers.
We need to get a basset hound. We have enough animals. We're good. I don't have the time for a dog.
No.
It would not be fair to the dog. As much as we both love dogs.
I do. I had a dog growing up my whole life, but awesome. I saw if you don't have the time for a dog, it's just
Right.
not fair. We actually, the last dog that I had, we had to give it up because we didn't have enough time for her. She was a very energetic young Sheltie, and she was locked in the house for 8 hours a day because my dad worked, my mom worked, and I was at school. And I was out with friends after school, and it just wasn't fair. Like, we'd go home and she'd made a mess of the house, but what else is she going to do? She was locked in the house for 8 hours. She couldn't go outside to go to the bathroom or anything. So yeah, having a dog requires you have the time for it. So that's why we don't have a dog.
Are there any more trades in the queue?
They're just the Calgary one from what I've seen with a hot chick. I haven't seen anything else. Yeah, Nikita Hotchik, it's a conditional 5th round pick. Conditions from previous trades, San Jose will receive the better of 2 2024 5th round picks that Chicago owns. So that's as far as I can tell. That's the last trade. That's it. Is done.
The Shark fans really don't seem happy today.
No, but I think
they're kind of sad.
I think in the long term, I think they'll be better off with the Hurdle trade being done. So I understand people not being happy. I get it, but getting that Hurdle contract off the books, I think, will be a positive for them.
Do you prefer NHL teams wearing colored or white jerseys for home?
White.
I want them to both wear colors.
I would like to see white jerseys at home, and then you get varying colors.
She caught on me?
You get varying colors of teams coming in, and every game looks different when you're in the building. Otherwise, it's very samey. It's all the same.
It's true. I would like them both wearing colors, though. There's a lot of teams that could play each other with same colors, since we don't all have black and white TVs, or the majority of people don't have black and white TVs anymore. So we could do both colors.
Yep.
I think that would look really nice.
Yep, I think that would be nice.
And I think during the playoffs, Winnipeg should be able to wear white at home. I think it's silly when they're wearing blue and everybody else is wearing white. It's silly. But that's my opinion.
Yep. But anyways, we should probably get going because it's a little after 1 o'clock.
It is.
So other stuff to do and whatnot. And so I'll get this. But yeah.
Other stuff to do, he means lots of videos on this.
I will be making videos on the trade deadline, on what happened, on who got what for what, and all that stuff, and cap implications of this and whatnot. But home jerseys, show your colors. Sure. Either way, the NHL's had it done the way it's been done for 20 years now. I can't see them changing back. The darks at home are really in general because usually those are the ones that sell better.
Fans wear colors.
Third jerseys are almost always the dark colors too. So, but anyways, thank you guys for coming out. This has been a fun stream. Absolutely. And we will do this again soon.
Say hi to Bear.
So for Bear, say hi to everybody, Bear. Aw.
She snuggled in.
Aw. Anyways.
It's almost over. No, she's going to put me down.
Thanks for coming in, and we will do this again soon. Somebody's disgusted with the Sharks.
There's a lot of people. Yeah.
I will make a video on that trade first. We will discuss. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. And yeah, we'll do this again soon. So from Bear, thanks for coming out.